on his body. He lifted his hand and gently kneaded the other person's calves. Ah! She subconsciously let out a small gasp, and Gu Feng, who heard the sound, had a strange expression on his face. Su Luli also seemed to realize that her voice just now was a bit off, blushing as she turned her head and hurriedly focused her attention on the TV in the distance. They sat on the sofa watching TV until 10 o'clock. Feeling that it was about time to go to bed, Su Luli and Gu Feng got up and walked to the bedroom. They found bath towels in the closet and Su Luli was about to go to the bathroom to take a bath. Gu Feng saw this and immediately prepared to follow her in. However, before he could get close to the bathroom door, he was stopped by Su Luli raising her hand. She blinked her beautiful eyes lightly and closed the bathroom door the next second. Oh! I was hoping to have a romantic bath together, but now it doesn't look like it's going to happen. After taking a bath one after the other, they lay down on the bed to rest quietly. Tuesday and Wednesday's classes were still very full, and before they knew it, it was Thursday. At 4 p.m., Gu Feng, who had just finished class, was preparing to return to the dormitory. Before he could even walk out of the teaching building, Director Gao, who was carrying a big belly and walking with a strut, happily came towards him. Gu Feng, wait a minute. Can you spare a few minutes? The director has something to discuss with you. Looking at Director Gao in front of him, for some reason, he suddenly felt that the other party was being flattering. Director Gao, what do you want to discuss with me? Actually, it's not a big deal. It's not convenient to talk here, so why don't we go to my office and talk in detail? Okay. After all, he is the director of the Youth League Committee, so how can he not give face? Gu Feng happily agreed, and Director Gao happily took the initiative to lead the way. They went upstairs to the director's office, where Gao offered Gu Feng a seat and poured him a glass of water. Gu, the director asked me to call you over because he wants you to do me a small favor. I heard from Teacher Lu that you only want to have the nominal title of vice president in the club. I understand that students with your kind and simple character and excellent academic performance generally don't want to be bothered by the mundane things of the club. While speaking, Gao also came to the sofa and sat down. Simple in character? Excellent academic performance? Director Gao, you're stunned. What is Director Gao doing, a director of the school, paying a student a compliment? He knew that Lin Feng had excellent academic performance after such a short time at the school, and his ability to predict the future is too strong. Principal Lin asked me to manage the psychology club, and the club now has 7,000 to 8,000 members. It is more than 10 times the size of the student union. I have arranged for a number of relevant management personnel, but it is very difficult to organize activities. Director Gao looked worried, but Gu Feng seemed to understand something. Director, you don't mean you want me to organize the activities, do you? There was a slight pause in his heart. He had told Lu Bo that it was a nominal position, but now it seemed that it would obviously not be that easy. Student Gu, no, Brother Gu Feng. Actually, it's not very complicated. As long as you come to a meeting and give a speech, that's enough. Brother Gu, to be honest, I, the director, have always been straightforward and never engage in flattery. If I mess up the task assigned by Principal Lin this time, I won't be able to explain myself. You have to help me this time, and I will be in your debt. With a bitter smile on the corner of his mouth, his eyes full of pleading, his eyes begging, he looked so aggrieved. In this state, not to mention the director, even an ordinary person he would be embarrassed to refuse. Chapter 90, Subworld. Director, can you be more specific? What exactly do you want me to do? I'm really sorry to refuse, so I can only agree with a stiff upper lip. Our principal once said, if you don't fall in love in junior high, you won't fall in love in high school, and if you don't fall in love in college, what's the point of youth? So I plan to organize an event about campus love. The main goal is to revive the students of the university and some surrounding schools. Let everyone talk about their views on love, and at the same time find a few representative couples to give gifts to. Gu Laudi, your task is very simple, just show up and make a few remarks if necessary. 99% of these people who joined the psychology club did so because they want to look up to Gu Feng. To hold such a big event, if the vice president, Gu Feng, doesn't participate, the effect will definitely be greatly reduced. Okay. Okay, thank you, Gu Laudi. I'll buy you dinner sometime. You're welcome, director. If we're going to buy dinner, I should be buying you dinner. You have a million things to do every day, so I won't bother you. I've already said yes, so there's no need to stay in the office any longer. As soon as he left the office, Director Gao took out his phone and dialed. Hello? Teacher Lu, I've already taken care of it. He's a director after all, so he'll definitely give me face. Ha ha ha, let's talk some other time. Laughing heartily a few times, Director Gao hung up the phone in his hand. It was almost 4:30 when he left the teaching building. Su Liuli had a class scheduled for the day, and there was also a career guidance meeting in the evening, so he didn't have any spare time. He had no choice but to make two choices: either return directly to the dormitory and go out to dinner with Zhang Yu and the others after 6 o'clock, or take advantage of the only little over an hour he had left to go to the company. Since Qin Zhengyang and Yui Lan had joined the company, he hadn't been to the company yet. Annie had been sending him daily summaries. Never mind, he'd go to the company. It was indeed a bit inappropriate that he, the boss, had never been to the company once since the two vice presidents had been there for several days. He walked quickly out of the school and drove his Maybach straight to Yunding Technology. He did not notify and or the others in advance, so when Gu Feng arrived at the reception, the young lady in charge of registration looked surprised. Mr. Gu, please wait a moment, I will call Mizan to come and pick you up. She hurriedly picked up the phone at the reception and quickly dialed the number. Before 2 minutes had passed, Anne, dressed in a professional outfit, came running to Gu Feng. The boss suddenly came over, and she, as the secretary, was also extremely surprised. Mr. Gu, why are you here? I was just passing by and thought I'd drop in. Where are Mr. Chen and Mr. Yu? Mr. Chen is in his office and Mr. Yu is in the conference room. It's a good thing you're here, because Mr. Chen has some documents he wants you to take a look at. He submitted a few good projects that he thinks are worth investing in, and he wants to ask for your opinion. After Annie finished speaking, Gu Feng took a few steps forward. Let's go, first to President Chen's office. He led Annie to the office of President Chen, knocked gently on the door, and a low voice came from inside. Come in. He put down the documents in his hands and looked up at the door. When he saw Annie, Chen Zhengyang's face didn't change, but the next second, when Gu Feng stepped in, Chen Zhengyang's face changed, and he hurriedly got up. President Gu, you're here. Please sit down. He walked around the desk to the sofa and warmly invited Gu Feng to sit down first. Mr. Chen, you sit too. I'm fine, I just dropped by to see how things are going. Are you happy with the office? How's work these past 2 days? If there's anything you need, you can tell Annie. The company will try to accommodate you as much as possible. Out of habit, Chen Zhengyang couldn't help but start being polite after seeing him. I'm quite satisfied, Mr. Gu. Smiling awkwardly, Chen Zhengyang said seriously. Mr. Chen, those projects. Annie stood behind Gu Feng and reminded him at the right moment. Hearing this, Chen Zhengyang suddenly remembered those projects and quickly got up first to take out 3 thick documents from the drawer. Gu Zone, these are 3 project proposals. Please take a look. The first one is a game submitted by Lu Qi, the head of the technical department. Dimensional World. After flipping through the project proposal and looking at the content inside, Gu Feng was immediately immersed in it. After 20 minutes, after reading the entire project proposal, he took a deep breath and said, Lu Qi is really a genius. The setting of this game is completely different from that of the Pinnacle competition, but it is even more attractive to me than the Pinnacle competition. This project is feasible. Mr. Chen, you will be in charge of following up next. You will run the Pinnacle competition while also developing the world of dimensions. Okay, Mr. Gu, I understand. Chen Zhengyang agreed, and Gu Feng continued to pick up the next 2 project proposals. One is about the development of solid-state batteries, and the other is a real estate project proposal for a plot of land in the suburbs of the Magic City. President Gu, I had the project team specifically work on this solid-state battery project proposal. In half a month, there will be another forum meeting on the solid-state battery project. The battery industry is a new industry, and for us, this should be considered an opportunity. Chen Zhengyang spoke his mind, expressing his thoughts honestly, and ultimately decided that it would depend on Gu Feng himself. Both project proposals are good, and since there is a forum meeting in half a month, please notify me in advance. As for the land in the suburbs, let's put it on hold for now. Running so many projects at the same time may strain the company's finances. It's true that there's not much energy left to develop real estate, not to mention the solid-state battery project in half a month's time, not to mention the peak competition online which has only just launched. The conversation continued in the office for about an hour. It was almost 6 o'clock, and just as Gu Feng was about to get up and leave, there was another knock on the door. Gu Feng, Chen Zhengyang, and Secretary An, I'm sorry, I hope I'm not interrupting. Yu Yilan appeared in the doorway, carrying a stack of documents. President Yu? Come in and sit down. Seeing that it was Yu Yilan, Chen Zhengyang got up again and asked her to sit down quickly. Thank you, President Chen. Mr. Gu, the receptionist said you were here, and I've come to see you. The head of the employment office at Fuxing University has been trying to get an appointment with you for a while now. If it were any other school, she would have just turned Feng's request down. But Fuxing University is different, it's the boss's alma mater, so after much consideration, she decided to ask Feng for his opinion. Chapter 91, Pigsy's Deja Vu. You want to see me? When? Sitting upright, Gu Feng looked surprised. The leader of the employment office suddenly wanted to see him. The leader over there said it depends on your schedule. Tomorrow is Friday, I have a class in the morning, if you must meet, we can only arrange it for the afternoon. I have time tomorrow afternoon, Annie, you arrange it for me. Sure. Hearing Gu Feng's command, Annie, who was standing behind the sofa, quickly agreed. After staying in the office for more than an hour, it was 6:30 p.m. Almost all the employees outside had gone home, and Gu Feng also got up to prepare to leave. The promotion of the Pinnacle competition was still continuing, and the data growth was good. General Manager Chen, who had worked hard, continued to keep an eye on it. General Manager Gu was relieved, as this was his job. Chen Zhengyang got up, and with a few people seeing him off, Gu Feng walked out of the company and went to the elevator. Su Liuli was still in a meeting after dinner, so he had to return to the dormitory alone. Unexpectedly, Jiang Yu, Xiao Kai, and Zhang Tiniu were all there. He wasn't surprised to see Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai in the dormitory, but Zhang Tiniu was also there, which was a bit unexpected. Tiniu, what's going on? Didn't you go with your girlfriend today? Gu Feng looked at Zhang Tiniu, who was playing a game on his bed, with a smile. The three of them were holding their phones together, obviously playing together. Gu Feng, you're back. Huh? You just saw it? They all pushed the door open and came in a minute or two ago, and it's only now that Zhang Tiniu and Jiang Yu noticed. They were so engrossed in playing the game. Junying went out shopping with some roommates, and I came back because I didn't have anything to do. By the way, Gu Feng, do you want to download a game and play with us? This game is so much fun. Hands moving non-stop, Xiao Kai looked up for a second, but before he could finish speaking, his eyes were once again glued to the screen of his phone. It's that fun. I'll give it a try too. I'm just going to lie down anyway, so while he turned over on the bed, Gu Feng also took out his phone and found the App Store to download Peak Competition. 10 minutes later, the login was successful, and Jiang Yu and the others had just finished a game. Come on, let's play 4-player. Gu Feng, I'll invite you. Gu Feng was invited to join them, and they started playing 4-player games together, playing from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. During that time, Su Luli called to say that the career guidance session was over and that she would be staying in the dormitory tonight, so he should go to bed early. After hanging up, he continued to play games with Jiang Yu and the others. In the blink of an eye, it was 11 p.m. Gu Feng, who really couldn't hold on any longer, was ready to go to bed, but Jiang Yu and the others were like people on amphetamines, not at all sleepy. I said, there's still a class tomorrow morning, so why don't we call it a night? Phew. Okay, I haven't had a proper rest for a few days, so I'll go to bed early tonight. After Gu Feng finished speaking, Jiang Yu looked at the phone in front of her and decided to go to bed early as well. Only Zhang Tinio and Xiao Kai were left, but there was no point in them continuing to play, so they simply put down their phones and went to bed together. In the blink of an eye, it was the next morning. There were 2 classes in the morning, and nothing special happened. After class, everyone got up and walked out of the classroom one after the other. When Gu Feng and Jiang Yu got up and came to the classroom door, they discovered that there were a lot of people blocking the door. What's going on? What's going on in front? Unable to get out of the classroom, Jiang Yu stood on tiptoe and looked out the door. After finally squeezing out of the door together, they looked down the corridor following everyone's gaze. Gu Feng immediately saw Su Luli in the distance. Wow! Senior Su! There are so many beautiful women. If it was just Su Luli, she wouldn't be that eye-catching, but behind her, there were several other people standing. Ning Yuyang from the School of Dance, Lan Feier from the School of Finance, Bai Yaxin from the School of Computer Science, and Xia Yan from the School of Business and Management. Eek! Jiang Yu's mouth opened wide. Suddenly seeing so many beautiful women, her body unconsciously stood in place. No wonder it was so crowded outside the classroom. When she saw Gu Feng, Su Liuli's eyes revealed a hint of joy, and she took a few steps towards him. Seeing this, Xia Yan and the others behind her looked at each other. That's Liuli's boyfriend. Wow, a boyfriend. Let's go and have a look. The flower-adorned girls followed Su Liuli closely. When they saw Gu Feng, Su Liuli stared at his rosy face and said, I'm going to have lunch with friends, and in the afternoon I'll host a career talk. Okay. Gu Feng froze for a moment, and subconsciously nodded and said yes. Behind Su Liuli, 7 or 8 pairs of big, sparkling eyes were staring at him, and with his thick skin, he felt a little embarrassed. Little boyfriend. Hello? We're taking Liuli out to dinner, and she insisted on coming over to personally tell you. Xia Yan from the School of Business Administration's body trembled slightly, and the phrase little boyfriend directly left Jiang Yu and the others dumbfounded in place. Little boyfriend, do you want to go to dinner with us? You don't have to pay, we're treating. Right, we're treating. Giggle, 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 our Liuli has really good taste. If only I had a boyfriend like that. Giggle, 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 giggle. While no one was looking, Jiang Yu took out her phone and took a picture of Gu Feng's back, of course, with Su Liuli and the group of older students behind him in the frame. Okay, Xia Yan, Xiao, don't tease him anymore. Gu Feng, let's go eat first, I'll call you after the presentation. After whispering to Gu Feng, she turned to look at Xia Yan and the others behind her. Let's go, we still have to read the host's script this afternoon. Little boyfriend. Bye. Goodbye, little boyfriend. Before leaving, one after the other, they raised their hands and bowed to Gu Feng. In the face of this situation, Gu Feng could only smile and wave goodbye. What else could he say? After Su Liuli and the others left, Gu Feng turned around and was directly startled. In addition to Jiang Yu and a few others, there were also a bunch of people standing in the hallway, all of them students who had just finished class. Everyone's gaze fell on him, as if they were admiring a priceless treasure. Let's go, hurry up and go eat. Patting Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai on the shoulders, Gu Feng quickly left down the corridor. If he continued to be stared at like this, he would really die of embarrassment in public. Gu Feng, awesome. Absolutely awesome. He raised his hand and gave Gu Feng a thumbs up. He never dreamed that he would see such a scene. Too lazy to bother with Jiang Yu's teasing, he followed the others to the cafeteria for lunch. Annie had already contacted the school leaders and would be bringing Chen Zhengyang to the school at 2 p.m. Chen Zhengyang was in charge of the Yunding presentation, while Annie would accompany him to meet with the leaders of the school's career office. Chapter 92, 100 Employment Opportunities. After waiting in the dormitory until nearly 2 o'clock, Gu Feng slowly made his way to the school gate. In no time at all, an Audi appeared in front of the gate. After verifying his identity, the security guard at the gate decisively let him in. As soon as they entered the school, An, who was in the passenger seat, looked up and saw Gu Feng waiting by the roadside. He opened the car door and got out. In addition to An, there were also Chen Zhangyang and his assistant. President Gu. Mr. Chen, you go to the venue first, and Mr. Gu and I will go meet the leader of the employment office at Fuxing University. Annie came up behind Gu Feng and looked at Chen Zhangyang. Good. Mr. Gu, I'll go to the venue first, and you can call me if you need anything. After saying that, Chen Zhangyang got back in the car with his assistant, and Gu Feng and Annie walked to the administrative building where the employment office was located. They soon arrived outside the administrative building, and the employment office was on the first floor around the corner. The two of them arrived at the door of the office. The door was wide open, and clear voices could be heard inside. Knock, knock, knock. Annie raised her hand and lightly knocked on the door. Upon hearing the sound, the two people inside looked towards the door at the same time. Hello, we are from Yunding Technology and are here to see President Wang. Annie introduced herself, and when she heard that she was from Yunding Technology, Vice President Wang, who was about 40 or 50 years old, hurriedly got up. It turns out you are guests from Yunding Technology. Come in. He greeted them warmly at the door. When he saw Annie, Vice Principal Wang didn't react much, but when he saw Gu Feng, his face couldn't help but freeze. Gu. I met you in the conference room last time. I only remember the surname Gu, I really forgot the exact name. Vice Principal Wang, my name is Gu Feng. Right, Gu Feng, why are you here? I'm sorry, Vice Principal Wang, I forgot to introduce you. This is President Gu, the president of our Yunding Technology. Annie stood next to Gu Feng and took the initiative to introduce him. Vice President Wang next to her heard this and her mouth opened slightly, completely lost in thought. Principal, this person is the president of Yunding. The teacher behind her whispered a reminder, and after hearing the teacher's words, Principal Wang finally came back to his senses. Classmate Gu Feng, oh no, President Gu, Secretary Annie, please come inside. As the saying goes, it's like a flood washing away the Dragon King's temple, so that no one in the family recognizes each other. If I had known that President Gu was a member of our Fuxing University, I would have saved myself the trouble and just gone to you directly. Smilingly, Vice President Wang greeted Gu Feng and Annie and sat them down, and the Vice President himself went to the water dispenser and poured 2 cups of warm water. Vice President Wang, I'll do it. The Vice President personally handed him the water, and Gu Feng hurriedly got up to greet him. President Gu is young and accomplished, and he really makes us all feel ashamed. It is our blessing to have a student like President Gu at Fuxing University. With a smile on his face and flattery pouring from his lips, Annie next to him could only force back her laughter and try hard to look away. As for Gu Feng, of course he was also uncomfortable. He had just been half flattered by Director Gao, and now he was here with the Vice President, and he really couldn't handle it. President, I heard from President Yu that you contacted her many times and wanted to talk to me about the autumn recruitment? I'm not used to sitting here and talking. Since President Wang won't say anything, I might as well take the initiative and ask. That's right, I did contact President Yu many times. The graduation season is in the middle of next year, and as the Vice President in charge of employment, I have to think a lot about the graduating students. To be honest, I have already met with the people in charge of the companies that are recruiting this autumn. I don't have any special requests, I just want everyone to give our school more employment opportunities. While he was talking, Vice Principal Wang sat quietly, his gaze fixed on Gu Feng. He had learned from Yu Yilan that Yunding Technology was preparing more than 200 employment opportunities this time. Such a large-scale recruitment even far exceeded some large groups in the Magic City, so he had repeatedly contacted them to try to secure more places. Principal Wang, we understand what you mean. Our company's rule is that the capable will prevail, and the recruitment assessment standards are the same. As long as our school's students are good enough, there is basically no problem with employment. When Annie said this, Principal Wang couldn't help but reveal a wry smile on his face. Secretarian, I also understand what you mean. The key is that these students are more or less the same, and none of them have much work experience. If your company can set aside some more places for our school, more students will be able to find employment. Mr. Gu, Brother Gu. Since you are also a member of our school, please give us more places. It seems that Vice President Gu is not on familiar terms with Vice President Wang, who is indeed a man of character, and directly addresses him as little brother. Gu Feng can't help but be taken aback. At one point, he wonders if Vice President Wang is related to Director Gao, as even their way of speaking is so similar. Vice President, our Human Resources Department has prepared about 200 places for recruitment. How about leaving 100 places for Fuxing University? 100 employment places. Brother Gu, do you mean it? To take half of Yunding's employment quota in one go, Vice President Wang was ecstatic. Of course I mean it. Ha 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 ha. Brother Gu, after all, we are still family. I would like to thank you here on behalf of the children who are about to graduate. He lifted the glass in front of him, but then put it back down again. It was such a simple thing to get 100 employment quotas, and it was truly a pleasant surprise. Brother Gu, the information session will start soon, why don't we go and listen to it? The purpose has been achieved, and there is no point in continuing to chat in the office. Principal Wang is ready to take Gu Feng to the venue of the recruitment talk. Good. Upon hearing Principal Wang's words, Gu Feng and Annie rose in turn. The teacher led the way, followed closely by Annie. Gu Feng walked with Principal Wang, chatting quietly as they walked. The venue of the recruitment talk was located on the first floor of the teaching building. The large lecture theater could easily accommodate more than 1,000 people. In addition to this classroom, the doors to the other two classrooms were also open, and the large screen displayed the front podium. The two front rows of the venue were reserved for the corporate seats. When Principal Wang arrived, all the corporate representatives got up one after the other, including Chen Zhengyang, who was sitting in the far corner of the row. Teacher Zhao, are we all ready? When will the presentation begin? Principal Wang came to the front of the podium, and a tall, thin young teacher quickly came up to him. We're all ready, we can start any time. Good, there's no time to lose, let's get started. Gu Laudi, you sit here with me. Pointing to the seat next to him, it was originally arranged for the teacher who had just come with him, but because of Gu Feng, the teacher and Annie had to sit at the back. Chapter 93, Recruitment Seminar. The lights shone on the podium, and Ning Yuyang, dressed in a white evening dress, took the lead. Welcome to the recruitment seminar, leaders of the company. On behalf of the leaders of Fuxing University, I welcome you all. As soon as the words fell, there was a thunderous applause in the venue. The recruitment seminar officially began. Please welcome Mr. Qian from Guofeng Group to the stage. After Ning Yuyu finished speaking, a middle-aged man in a suit and tie at the far right seat in the first row stood up. He wore gold-rimmed glasses and gave off a refined and gentle impression. Guofeng Group. Gu Feng sat next to President Wang and muttered to himself. He had really looked into this Guofeng Group. It was an old and established group. Before the rebirth, at a business party, he had met the chairman of the Guofeng Group, an old man with white hair. Hello everyone, I am Qianyu, the director of the Human Resources Department of the Guofeng Group. I am very happy to have received an invitation from the school leaders. You may not know our group very well, so before I introduce the positions and salary packages, let me briefly introduce our Guofeng Group. The group was founded in 1957, so it has a history of almost 70 years. Qianyu was holding a microphone on stage as he introduced the group, while pictures were scrolling on the big screen behind him. After 3 or 5 minutes, the group introduction was finished, and they began to focus on the job positions. The group is planning to recruit 20 outstanding graduates from Fuxing University, including positions in computer technology, design, logistics, finance, etc. The salary is very attractive, as you can see. The salary structure varies depending on the position, but overall, the treatment is still very good. After all, it is a listed group. The minimum salary is 8,000 yuan, and the same goes for fresh interns. There are 10 days of paid vacation each year, and there are also all kinds of subsidies. If you are interested, you can submit your resume during the autumn recruitment. We will arrange an interview within 3 days. After a nearly 10-minute presentation, Xian Yu put down the microphone and walked off the podium. A listed group. It is said that the interviews for listed groups are extremely strict. In addition to the preliminary and final exams, there is also a final exam. It would be great if I could successfully join the company. What are you thinking about? They are only recruiting 20 people. Do you know how many graduates there are in our class? Including the graduate school, there are a few thousand people, and a few thousand people are competing for 20 places. Unless you are too lucky, it is simply wishful thinking. Inside the venue, the students were whispering and discussing. It was obvious that everyone was very interested in the Guofeng group, but it was a listed group, and it was extremely difficult to get a job there. Behind the Guofeng group, there were still listed companies giving presentations. However, the number of people being recruited was getting smaller and smaller. During this time, Su Luli, dressed in a long black dress, appeared once. After seeing Gu Feng in the audience, Su Luli's expression was obviously a little surprised. After the presentations of 5 or 6 listed companies, there were some small and medium-sized enterprises. An hour later, Su Lili, dressed in a black dress, walked slowly onto the stage. Please welcome Mr. Chen from Yunding Technology. Everyone, please welcome him. After the announcement was made, Su Lili deliberately glanced at Gu Feng, winked playfully, and then turned and left. Ugh, flirting with me. Raising her hand, she touched the tip of her nose. That little girl, Su Lili, dared to flirt with me in front of so many people. Soon, Chen Zhengyang strode to the podium. He picked up the microphone, greeted everyone briefly, and then began introducing the company. Yunding Technology is a technology company. Although it was established relatively recently, the company has developed rapidly. Recently, a game developed by the company, Peak Competition, has been launched, and students who like to play games have more or less heard of it. There's not much to introduce, so I can only introduce the projects the company has developed. This Yunding Technology is actually the company that developed Peak Competition? Shit, if I can successfully join the company, will I be rewarded with some limited edition skins? You're dreaming. Many people have never heard of cloud-top technology, but when it comes to Peak Competition, everyone is interested. The company is about to expand on a large scale and needs more people. There are about 100 recruitment positions at Fuxing University, mainly including majors such as software development, design, finance, business administration, etc. What? 100 people. Chen Zhengyang's announcement that he would recruit 100 people from Fuxing University caused an uproar in the meeting hall. The other companies here have only hired 30 to 40 people at most, but Cloud Top Technology is going to hire 100 people. Students, if you are interested, you can submit your resume at the beginning of the autumn recruitment. We will conduct interviews within 1 day, and there will only be 1 interview. We will notify you on the spot whether you can successfully join the company. Next, I will introduce the salary and benefits that you are most concerned about. Although Cloud Top Technology is only a small company, the salary and benefits are even better than those of listed companies. Brother Gu, your company's treatment is pretty good. Even I'm tempted. Ha ha ha. Sitting next to Gu Feng, Vice President Wang chuckled. To be honest, the salary and benefits at Yunding Technology were indeed a bit unexpected. The salary and benefits are okay, and the company is developing. A better salary and benefits will make everyone work harder. After all, he has managed large groups before, and he knows very well how much better salary and benefits can motivate employees. It's simply wishful thinking to promise the moon every day and expect employees to work hard without complaint. Chen Zhengyang announced the salary package on stage, and the students below were all excited. Compared to listed companies, it is obviously easier to join a small or medium-sized company like Yunding Technology. Not only is the salary package similar, but the number of people being recruited is also very high. It's simply a perfect fit. In less than 5 minutes, Chen Zhenyang put down the microphone and walked off the stage. A series of heads of small companies followed, and compared to the previous listed companies in Yunding Technology, the benefits of these small companies were much worse. The recruitment seminar lasted from the afternoon until the evening. When it was 6:30 p.m., with the head of the last advertising company finished speaking, the seminar finally ended. "Brother Gu, do you have time tonight? I'll treat you to dinner. You've provided 100 job openings for our school, I have to thank you properly. Principal Wang, you are too kind. I may not have time tonight, but I will treat you to dinner some other time. I have to accompany Su Liuli home tomorrow, and I need to go home early tonight to prepare, so I really don't have much time." "Okay, in that case, let's make another date." "Sure." He nodded in agreement, got up to exchange pleasantries, and then Principal Wang turned and left. Everyone left the venue one after the other, and Annie and Chen Zhenyang also came over to Gu Feng. The few of them were about to walk out of the lecture theater when a familiar voice suddenly came from afar. "Sorry, we don't have time." The voice was unusually cold, and seemed to carry a hint of displeasure. Looking in the direction of the sound, in the distance Su Liuli and Ning Yuyang were standing together. In front of them stood a middle-aged fat man. He was bloated, with a bald forehead, and in his hand he held a business card, looking at Su Liuli and the others with a pig-faced expression. Gu Feng saw this and his eyes narrowed. Without expression, he strode directly towards Su Liuli. Chapter 94, I Can Kill You with Money. "Classmate, it doesn't matter if you don't have time to eat tonight, I happen to be looking for a secretary, would you like to consider it?" He held a business card in his hand and handed it to Su Liuli with a flattering smile. Feeling the other person's infatuated gaze, Su Liuli and Ning Yuyu felt a wave of nausea in their stomachs. "Not interested." Su Liuli responded coldly, preparing to walk around the other person and leave the classroom. But unexpectedly, the other person had quite a thick skin and once again blocked in front of her. "Classmate, this is a rare opportunity. Acting coy now won't work when you're crying and looking for me after you leave school." The lecherous eyes scanned back and forth over Su Liuli and the others. If it weren't for the fact that the other person was a guest invited by the school, they would have wanted to go up and slap him twice. "Autumn recruitment hasn't even started yet, and you're already desperate to poach people? President Liu?" With a sneer on his face, Gu Feng walked straight up to Su Liuli. Gu Feng suddenly appeared, and Su Liuli stood there in a daze, looking at Gu Feng blocking her way. The next second, her eyes were full of tenderness. "Little boyfriend's here." Gu Feng suddenly appeared in front of him, and Ning Yuyang and the others couldn't help but look pleased. Lu Ji's face suddenly turned slightly ugly when a young man suddenly appeared in front of him. "Who are you?" "I'm her boyfriend, Mr. Liu." "Are you sure you're qualified to let my girlfriend be your secretary?" His tone was calm, but you could still see from his eyes that Gu Feng was quite angry. Su Liuli's position in his heart was extremely important. She was usually the one held in the palm of his hand, so how could he tolerate others bullying her? "Kid, you think I'm not qualified? Ha ha ha. Do you believe that I can use money to crush you?" As soon as Lu Ji finished speaking, Annie and Chen Zhenyang came up to Gu Feng, one after the other. "President Liu. Be careful what you say. This is our President Gu." Annie's face was ugly. The person in front of her actually said that he would use money to crush his boss. She was afraid that he had been kicked in the head by a donkey. "Secretary Annie, President Chen." "Wait. President Gu? You are President Gu?" The unpleasant expression on her face turned into surprise, and she looked at Gu Feng in shock. She didn't realize that the young man in front of her was the boss of Yunding Technology. You see, her own time company had millions of dollars in business with Yunding Technology, and they were the client. He had just made a reckless remark about killing Gu Feng, and in less than 2 seconds, his attitude had made a 180-degree turn. "I'm sorry, Mr. Gu, I didn't recognize you." Sorry. Gu Feng changed his previous tough attitude and hurriedly raised his hand to apologize to Gu Feng. "Liuli, let's go." Gu Feng didn't even look at the other person as he let Su Liuli and the others turn around and leave, despite the apology. Annie, is this Lou always from Times Advertising? Gu Feng turned to Annie as he walked out of the lecture theater with Su Liuli's hand in his. Annie had never seen her boss angry before, and she was a little nervous at the moment. She placed her hands in front of her and slightly frowned, saying, "Yes, Mr. Gu. I've seen the advertisements on variety shows, and the designs are very abrupt. This advertising company is limited in its abilities, so let's terminate the contract." She coldly left with Su Liuli. They watched as Gu Feng and Su Liuli walked away, and Ning Yu and Lan Fei and the others hesitated where they were standing, little boyfriend, overbearing president. Sure enough, the plot of the novel comes from reality. After mumbling to themselves, the few of them left one after the other. Gu Feng's words were still ringing in their ears, and Chen Zhengyang turned to look at Annie, secretary, and, if we withdraw the advertising investment now, we may suffer a great loss. President Gu, this. Mr. Chen, Mr. Gu's words, we will do as he says. This time ad is really mediocre, it's not up to the task. After saying this, without giving Chen Zhengyang the chance to continue speaking, Annie walked straight to the car. Gu Feng led the way, and Su Liuli followed quietly, her beautiful eyes occasionally glancing at Gu Feng by her side. If you want to look openly, what are you peeking at me for? Ha! I wasn't peeking, I was looking openly the whole time. I didn't think Gu Feng would notice, but since he did, I might as well look at him openly. Were you angry just now? A little. Well, there's no need to get angry with that kind of person. I'll cook for you tonight, what do you want to eat? Anything? She looked at Su Liuli with a smile, her eyes betraying a hint of flirtatiousness. Of course, anything is fine. Nodding lightly, she could cook a lot of dishes, basically anything that could be named. Good, then I want to eat you. Gu Feng spoke seriously, and Su Liuli flushed. Every day is not serious. With a light snort, she ignored Gu Feng and walked towards the outside of the school with graceful steps. After buying the ingredients, after dinner that night, since they had to go home early in the morning, the two deliberately went to bed early. Early the next morning, they loaded the prepared things into the car and Gu Feng took Su Liuli and prepared to set off. The distance was not very far, and it would take about 3 hours to drive. Longhai City, Happy Village. Following the place name provided by Su Liuli, Gu Feng set the navigation and the two got into the car and left together. It was 9 a.m. Inside the Time Advertising Company, the president, Lu Tao, sat in the meeting room without saying a word. Many people were sitting on both sides of him, but they were all silent. I want to know what's going on. Can someone please explain? Why would Yunding Technologies suspend cooperation all of a sudden? His voice was cold, and anyone could hear the anger in his heart. Millions of contracts can be suspended at a moment's notice, which is a huge loss for small companies like theirs. President Lu, I sent someone to ask at Yunding, and they said that the advertisement we designed did not meet their requirements, and they want to find another advertising company to design it. His assistant whispered to him, her tone very cautious. President Lu was in a rage, and she was afraid that she might get into trouble if she wasn't careful. It doesn't meet requirements? If it doesn't meet requirements, just revise it. Why suddenly suspend the cooperation? After managing the company for so many years, how could he not see that the main reason for suspending the cooperation could not possibly be due to the quality of the advertisement? In the meeting room, sitting next to Lu Tao, Lu Ji had already been feeling confused. He looked down at the documents in front of him, and a little sweat appeared on his forehead and palms without him noticing. No one else knew the reason, but he knew that if it wasn't because he offended Gu Feng yesterday afternoon, the company's advertising contract would not have been terminated. Chapter 95, suspended for 3 months. President LV, you contact Secretary of Yunding Technology now. I just want to know why. Unable to suppress his anger, he raised his hand and slammed it on the table. The loud noise startled everyone in the meeting room. President Lu, this. LVG looked miserable. Letting him contact Annie now was like seeking death. Seeing LVG's face twisted in agony, Lu Tao's face turned cold and he said, "What's wrong? Is it inconvenient to get in touch?" No, Mr. Lu. What I mean is that since the other party has already decided to terminate the contract, I'm afraid it's useless for us to get in touch again. If we have the time, we might as well bring in more business. He absolutely cannot make this call today. A contract worth millions of yuan is gone in an instant. I must find out why. Lu Tao was unwilling to accept this. He felt something unusual about LVG and asked with a slightly cold gaze, Mr. LV, do you know anything about Yunding Technology suddenly suspending cooperation? Yesterday, you went to Fuxing University to attend a recruitment seminar. Did you meet with the leaders of Yunding Technology? Upon hearing this, LVG immediately shivered, hesitated, and wiped the fine sweat on his forehead with his hand. I met them. Who did you meet? Lu Tao continued to press, and LVG could only grit his teeth and reply, I met Mr. Chen and Secretarian. Secretarian? Secretarian is General Manager Gu's secretary, so why would she go to a job fair? Could it be that General Manager Gu also went? Mentioning Gu Feng, LVG's mouth twitched twice, and his face looked even worse than if he had eaten shit. LVG was busy wiping the sweat from his face and did not respond for a long time. Lu Tao could not hold back his impatience and immediately questioned again, Mr. LV, what's going on? Can you give me an explanation? Mr. Lu, He was really at a loss for an explanation when the words were on the tip of his tongue. Could he just tell Lu Tao that he had caused the company losses because he had harassed someone's girlfriend? To say this in front of so many people, not to mention Lu Tao not dealing with him, he himself would be ashamed to continue working at the company. Phew! No, I won't say it. Call Zhang in. Zhang, as Lu Tao called her, was LVG's assistant. She had gone to the Fuxing University information session with LVG the previous day and must know what had happened. Seeing this, LVG was extremely anxious and hurriedly spoke up to stop him. Wait a minute. Mr. Lu, yesterday I just had a misunderstanding with Mr. Gu, and I didn't expect him to suspend cooperation with our company. If you give me a chance, I will personally go to his door to apologize, and I'm sure I can salvage the cooperation. His words were very firm, but everyone present had brains, and since Cloudtop Technology had suspended cooperation, they would never easily change their minds. Lu Shi's words were just a way to buy some time. Mr. LV, it's not that I don't trust you, but this cooperation is really very important to us. I want to know what misunderstanding you and Mr. Gu have that would make him mobilize so many people to cancel the cooperation? Lu Tao spoke with righteous words and an attitude of probing to the bottom of things. Lu Shi has been entrenched in the position of vice president for many years, cultivating cronies and sometimes even not taking the words of the president to heart. For Lu Tao, this opportunity is just the right time to knock the other party. With the help of this presentation, I wanted to find a secretary, but I didn't expect the other party to be President Gu's girlfriend. There have been many misunderstandings. You have to understand that the other party is from our side, and I would never dare to provoke them. LVG had a gloomy face. After all, he was the vice president of the company, and at this moment, his face was considered a disgrace. Secretary? President LV, you really opened my eyes. You want a secretary, so you went to the personnel department, and you even had to look for one yourself? If that's the case, do you want the position of head of personnel department? Lu Tao sneered. The head of personnel department in the distance heard this and trembled, his face tensing involuntarily. My goodness, the head of the HR department has let LVG do it. What is he going to do as the head of the department? Is he going to be demoted? Since there is a reason for this, then Vice President LV must also bear the responsibility. Starting today, you are relieved of your duties as Vice President and suspended for 3 months. When Lu Tao said this, everyone in the meeting room was stunned for a moment. LVG couldn't even believe his ears and looked at Lu Tao with disbelief. Vice President Lu, I have been dedicated for so many years, and you want to fire me for this trivial matter? I don't accept it. He was livid. He never expected that Lu Tao would take this opportunity to get rid of him. A trivial matter? LVG, the company is so large, and a contract worth millions can be destroyed at will. Do you call that a trivial matter? Besides, I didn't say you were fired, just suspended for 3 months. After 3 months, your position will be reassigned, and which department you will be assigned to will be discussed at a later date. Meeting adjourned. Without giving LVG a chance to speak again, Lu Tao got up and walked straight out of the meeting room. Seeing this, everyone else got up and left one after the other while murmuring. In the blink of an eye, LVG was the only one left in the large meeting room. He slumped in his chair, feeling extremely frustrated. If he had known it would turn out like this, he would never have gone to the presentation, and he would never have provoked those girls. But it was too late to say anything now. On the Shanghai Ring Road, Gu Feng drove at full speed following the navigation. Su Lily, who was sitting in the passenger seat, was holding a stuffed animal in her soft arms, and her eyes were looking softly out the window. She was happy because she would soon be able to go home and see her grandfather, but she was also a little scared, because of the baby growing inside her. Gu Feng was fully focused on driving, and Su Lily next to him didn't say a word, so Gu Feng didn't bother to speak either. 2 hours later, they entered the city limits of Longhai. It was less than an hour's drive to their destination. Lily, would you like some water? Before getting in the car, he had deliberately stored some warm water in a thermos cup for Su Lily to drink on the road. Recovering her gaze from the window, Su Liu shook her head slightly. I'm not thirsty. Do you want some? I'll give you a sip. Thinking it was Gu Feng who wanted some, she lifted her hand and picked up the thermos in front of her, about to bring it to Gu Feng's lips. No, I'm not thirsty either. Seeing that you haven't spoken, are you worried that Grandpa will scold you? Don't worry, I've got it all under control. I'm ready for anything, and I'll take whatever Grandpa wants to do, beat me or scold me. Just don't get crippled. Don't get me wrong, I'm not worried about my own health, I'm just worried that if I get crippled, I won't be able to take care of you too. Gu Feng said with a smile, looking straight ahead but glancing at Su Liuli out of the corner of his eye. He had been looking serious, but after hearing Gu Feng's teasing words, Su Liuli's beautiful eyes curved into a crescent moon, and she immediately covered her mouth and laughed lightly. Really? Then I have to tell Grandpa in advance, so that he can give you a good lesson. Chapter 96, What a Handsome Young Man. She tilted her head to the side and made a playful expression, and Su Liuli giggled happily. Gu Feng heard this and a bitter look crossed his lips, and his face turned green. No, I was hoping you would intercede. You girl, if you won't intercede, you actually want to pour oil on the fire? If you really make me suffer, you'll just have to stay a widow. Seeing that Su Liuli's mood had improved a lot, Gu Feng continued to joke with her while driving. Half an hour later, as they got closer and closer to their destination, Su Liuli took out her phone and tried to call her grandfather in advance. However, after dialing the number, there was no answer. Strange, why didn't Grandpa answer the phone? A trace of doubt flashed in her delicate, watery eyes, and after hanging up, she pressed the replay button. Do. After 10 seconds, the familiar voice came again. Hello, the number you have dialed cannot be reached at the moment, please try again later. Su Liuli sat in the passenger seat and kept making 3 calls in a row. Gu Feng couldn't help but ask, Grandpa didn't answer the phone? Did you tell the old man before you left that we were coming back? I did. I told him the day before. But I always arrive in the afternoon by train, so Grandpa thought I would only arrive in the afternoon, and I didn't bring my phone with me when I left the house. It was hard to explain to him over the phone, so he just said he would come with Gu Feng and didn't say anything else. It's okay, we're almost at the village. Let's go home and see if he heard us. It's not uncommon for elderly people to have poor hearing and not hear the phone ringing. Okay. He fixes his gaze on the phone for a few seconds, then puts it back in his bag. He gets off the highway, and the road in front of him has somehow turned into a country lane. The surroundings become more and more familiar. 20 minutes later, the car finally entered Xingfu village. What a big village! There is a huge archway in front of me, with the 3 words Xingfu village clearly written on it. Xingfu village is also called Xingfu town and is part of a township, so it is much larger than an average village. We will enter here and go to the end of the road to my house. The road in front is not very easy to walk on, so please pay a little attention. Su Liuli whispered a reminder, from here to my house there are still about 2 or 3 kilometers, there is only one one-way street, it will be quite difficult to meet. Gufeng nodded briefly and continued driving, confident in his own driving skills and those of the other driver. A minute or two later, the car came to a gentle stop as a farm tractor slowly approached from the opposite direction, belching black smoke. Sigh, Suli, we'll have to back up. Just now, I was driving confidently, but I didn't expect to be taught a lesson so quickly. The road is only this wide, and a tractor basically takes up the whole road, so it's impossible to pass each other. Wait a minute, don't worry. Just as he was about to back up, Su Lili stopped him with a raised hand. They watched helplessly as the tractor got closer and closer, and who knew that the next second, the other party would just turn straight into the field next to them. Let's go. Mei's eyes blinked as she looked at Gufeng. Hearing Su Lili's words, Gufeng finally put the car into drive again. Driving all the way, they finally stopped in front of a square. The car came to a stop, and not far around were a group of old men and women sitting together in small groups, basking in the sun and chatting away, enjoying themselves. Hey! Isn't that Lioli? Lioli? Is that Lioli? The girl's back? It looks like it. Let's go, and have a look. The group of old men and women, who were still chatting away in the corner, saw Su Lili and Gufeng get out of the car and all gathered around. Grandma Wang, Aunt Lu, Aunt Cheng, Uncle Zhao, Uncle Bai. So many people suddenly appeared in front of her that Su Lili, who had grown up here since childhood, was overwhelmed, not to mention Gufeng, who stood next to her, looking a little foolish. At that moment, he could only stand awkwardly in place, smiling awkwardly at everyone stiffly. Lioli, is this your boyfriend? What a handsome young man. Oh, our Lioli has grown up, and she's got a boyfriend already. When are you getting married? When you get married, let Auntie Zhang know in advance, and she can help you get things ready. I heard that Lu Chun's wife already gave birth to a baby boy, and he's quite cute. With the looks of your daughter, the baby will definitely be very good looking. Young man, where is your family from? Young man, what kind of car is this? It seems longer than my old Alto. This car must be expensive, right? Young man, how old are you? %%. One question followed another, and he felt his head buzzing as he had no idea which one to answer first. Fortunately, Su Lili came to the rescue at the critical moment. Grandma Wang, Auntie Zhang, Auntie Gu, Grandpa is still waiting for us at home, let's go home first. We'll come out and chat with everyone later. Hey, that's not right. Lioli, I just saw your grandfather, he went to the pig farm at the back of the mountain. He said he had some work to do. Mr. Zhao, who was wearing a jacket, pointed at the back of the mountain. After hearing that Grandpa wasn't at home, Su Lioli paused, and turned to look at Gufeng. Let's put the stuff at home first, and then we'll drive to the back of the mountain together and take a look. Okay. Taking the gifts from the trunk one by one, he simply greeted everyone, and followed Su Lioli's footsteps up the path. This is the village's leisure square, and you have to follow the path for a couple of 100 meters to get home. The surrounding houses are all old ones, and the alleys are relatively narrow, so it is generally difficult for cars to drive in. Carrying things, they arrived in front of an old house. The door was locked, so Su Lili put down the things in her hands and stood on tiptoe to feel around the eaves. After a moment, she really felt 2 keys from above. Grandpa is old and has a bad memory, so he put 2 keys here just in case. While talking, he opened the door. The small and exquisite courtyard is very clean and tidy, and it has quite a strong historical atmosphere. The courtyard is relatively simple, let's put our things here. The house is a bit run down, and Su Lili carefully glanced at Gufeng. After seeing that he didn't mind it, she felt slightly relieved. Grandpa is at the pig farm behind the mountain, shall we go take a look together? Sure. Having grown up, I have never seen what a rural pig farm looks like, so I will take this opportunity to go with Su Lili to have a look. Chapter 97, Castrating Pigs, Not Me. After putting things away, they walked out of the courtyard and returned to the square. They started the car and followed Su Lili's instructions to head towards the pig farm in the mountains. Luli, how many pigs are there in the pig farm? Sitting in the driver's seat, with one hand on the steering wheel, Gufeng casually chatted. Well, I don't know the exact number, but there should be a few hundred. The pig farm belongs to the village collective, and everyone goes to visit when they have time. A few years ago, in addition to the pigs sold, some pork was also distributed to each household. Su Liuli was sitting in the passenger seat explaining, and Gu Feng listened carefully while driving. In no time at all, the car arrived at the pig farm. The environment was surrounded by mountains and water, and one would have expected it to stink, but surprisingly there was no smell at all. The car stopped outside the pig farm archway, and Gu Feng and Su Liuli got out and entered. What a strange pig farm, why is there no smell at all? The pigs here are all hill-running pigs, all the pigs move around in the mountains, including the mountains over there and the mountains over here. The area is very large, so there is basically no smell. With slender fingers, he pointed to the two towering mountains in front of him. No wonder there is no stench from a few hundred pigs here, the farming area is just too large. Following Su Liuli's footsteps into the pig farm, in no time at all they met an old man. He was wearing a gray work uniform and was holding a shovel. When he saw Su Liuli and Gu Feng, the old man rubbed his eyes subconsciously, as if he couldn't believe his eyes. Liuli girl? Grandpa Bai, there you are. Oh, it really is Liuli girl, my girl, I haven't seen you for a long time. Didn't your grandfather say you wouldn't be back until this afternoon? Why are you back in the morning? He was sure it was Su Liuli, and Mr. Bai hurried over to her, smiling happily and full of enthusiasm. You're back early. Grandpa Bai, where's my grandfather? Your grandfather is in the cultivation room. Come, I'll take you to him. As he spoke, he put down the shovel in his hand and took the initiative to lead Su Liuli and Gu Feng to the cultivation room not far away. Liuli, is this young man your boyfriend? He's a nice young man, quite spirited. Our girl Su Liuli has good taste. Grandpa Bai looked at Gu Feng, a smile on his old face, and couldn't help but praise him. Hello, Grandpa Bai. My name is Gu Feng. Gu Feng? Ah, that's good, that's a nice name. Your grandfather is 100% satisfied with this young man. Having watched Su Liuli grow up since she was a child, he had long ago considered her family, and was quite excited to see her bring her boyfriend home. 2 minutes later, he followed the old man Bai into the breeding room. There were only 3 people in the whole breeding room, 2 middle-aged men and an elderly man. The 3 men were holding down a piglet, and the elderly man was facing away from the door, while the whole breeding room was surrounded by the piglet's screams. Without guessing, the elderly man must be the grandfather. The 3 men were busy, while Gu Feng and the others silently stood still and waited, not bothering to approach. Grandpa Bai, what are you doing? With the piglet's hysterical screams ringing in his ears, Gu Feng looked at the old man next to him with a puzzled expression. Young man, this is piglet castration. Piglet castration? What is piglet castration? Having grown up in the imperial capital, he had never heard of the term piglet castration. Gu Feng continued to press, and the old man just laughed out loud. Next to him, Su Liuli saw this and carefully raised her hand and tugged at the corner of Gu Feng's clothes. The meaning was clear, don't pursue the matter any further. Young man, you grew up in the city, so it's probably normal to castrate pigs. The so-called castration of pigs is actually a kind of surgical castration, which is the same as the ancient castration of eunuchs. The pigs we raise in the village now are basically all male piglets, and these male pigs will become sexually aroused when they reach adulthood. If we don't castrate the pigs, not only will they be full of energy and toss around recklessly every day, they won't gain weight either. After Bai explained, Gu Feng looked silently at his grandfather, who was facing away from him. Accompanied by the squeals of the piglets, 2 round, bulging things were thrown to the side. Hiss! Gu Feng shuddered at the skillful technique. His heart pounded as he felt a bitter feeling well up in him. He had really blundered today. The old man actually knows how to neuter a pig. If he gets too angry and presses him to the ground, the consequences are unimaginable. What are you daydreaming about? Are you not scared? He looked at Gu Feng strangely, as if the other party was very nervous. Staring at the 2 bloody orbs in the distance, Gu Feng swallowed cautiously. No, it's just a piglet, why would I be scared, it's not me. Puff, clucking. Gu Feng's serious words directly broke Su Liuli's guard. After laughing for about 10 seconds, he continued, "You're going to be in trouble. If you make Grandpa angry, be careful, he might really treat you like a little piglet." He raised his slender, delicate hand and made a motion as if he were about to chop someone down. It's not like he was bluffing, and just that one action made Gu Feng's back straighten up and his hair stand on end. After all, if it weren't for that thing, Su Liuli wouldn't be pregnant with a baby, and if the old man really got angry, he could do anything. "Girl, why are you back now?" Releasing the little piglet pressed under him, Grandpa walked towards Gu Feng and Su Liuli while taking off his gloves. The little piglet, who had lost its masculinity, anxiously circled back and forth on the ground, as if it had not yet recovered. "What is this?" His hair was slightly gray, and although there were wrinkles on his face, the old man was full of energy. "Grandpa, this is Gu Feng, I told you on the phone." She held her hands together and spoke in a small voice. This was the first time she had brought her boyfriend home to meet her family, and she was a little shy. The old man on the other side heard this and quickly asked with a smile, "Hello, young man. Were you tired on the way? Grandpa still has to be busy here for a while, why don't you two go home and rest first?" Looking back, Grandpa's attitude was not bad, but I don't know if he can continue to be like that. "Grandpa, I'm not tired." "You still have to be busy, do you want me to help?" No, we can manage on our own. If you and Liuli don't want to go home, you can just sit here for a while." Su Jingxiang waved his hand to refuse without hesitation. He couldn't let his future son-in-law do such work as pig slaughtering. "Su, the child is willing to help, so let him help a little. It's so boring just sitting here waiting." "Gu, Grandpa Bai will take you to change clothes. Meizhui is really interesting. Liuli, didn't you love catching piglets when you were little? Do you want to join us?" Not only did he drag Gu Feng off to catch piglets, but now Grandpa Bai wanted to take Su Liuli with them. "Grandpa Bai, Liuli gets a little carsick on the way back, so let her wait here." Gu Feng hurriedly spoke up to smooth things over. Being pregnant, she dares not do any strenuous exercise, let alone catch piglets. Chapter 98 Piglets, can you just get it over with? "Fine, Lily, you wait here." After Grandpa Bai said this, he led Gu Feng, without looking back, to the changing room next door. After changing into clothes that fit, the two of them walked out of the breeding room through a small door. Outside was a small pigsty with a number of piglets inside. Someone coming in scared the piglets, who scattered in all directions. "Gu, just grab two and put them in the cage over there. Your grandfather will clean up later." "Oh. Grandpa Bai, after you finish, do you just put the piglets on the mountain?" Standing in place, the piglets around him ran back and forth, not knowing what was in store for them. "Yes, after we finish, we will put the piglets on the mountain." While talking, Grandpa Bai, with quick hands and eyes, directly grabbed a piglet and put it in the cage. Gu Feng saw this and didn't dawdle. He bent down and, after a lot of effort, finally caught one and held it tightly in his arms before finally throwing it into the cage. The cage was empty at both ends, so if you put one in from one end, it can come out from the other. Some of these piglets are born to sows on the mountain, and some are purchased from outside. There are almost dozens of them in the whole pigsty. "Gu Feng, what do you think? Isn't catching piglets fun?" "Ha ha ha ha." With one piglet in each hand, Mr. Bai is beaming with joy. The cage is already full, so they'll have to wait a little while before they can continue. "Well, it is indeed fun." Gu Feng nods politely in response. Fun as it is, it's quite physically demanding. In just a short while, he is sweating from head to toe. In contrast, Grandpa Bai is as calm as can be. When Grandpa Bai was young, there were not many entertainment options, so he liked to catch pigs, lambs, calves, and so on. That was when Grandpa Liuli learned how to castrate pigs. Unconsciously, decades have passed, and Liuli has grown up so much. Grandpa Bai reminisced about the past, talking to himself, and when he was at home, his grandmother would also tell him about the past, and he always listened with great interest. Liuli has had a hard life, having grown up with her grandfather since she was young. The child has been very sensible since childhood, and basically we have all watched her grow up. Gu, you must treat this girl well in the future. Everyone in our happy village is related by marriage. Ha ha ha. Grandpa Bai laughed a lot, and after finishing speaking to Gu Feng, he couldn't help but laugh out loud himself. Okay. Grandpa Bai, don't worry, I wouldn't dare bully Lioli, it's always her bullying me. The old man and the young man happily chatted away, and before they knew it, an hour had passed and all the piglets in the pigsty had been put into cages. Gu, let's go outside. You've worked hard today, go back and let Lao Su cook you something delicious, his cooking is quite good and he is famous in our happy village. Gu Feng was let out of the pigsty, and outside Su Jingxian was still performing the castration operation with the two of them. When he saw Gu Feng come out, Su Jingxian stopped holding the knife. Gu Feng, let me call you Gu Feng from now on. What do you want to eat tonight? How about roast pig? Since we are castrating the piglets, we might as well catch one and roast it for my granddaughter and her future husband. After changing his clothes, Gu Feng hurriedly responded to his grandfather's words, Grandpa, I'm not picky, I'll eat anything. Okay, then we'll have roast pig tonight. Let me show you my cooking skills. Lao Su, you're going to make roast suckling pig? Gee, that makes me want to come for dinner. When Grandpa Bai heard the words roast suckling pig, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly, and he couldn't help but open his mouth and take a couple of bites. Ha ha ha. I can see that you want a drink. It so happens that Lioli is back, so come over tonight and let's all have a good time. I'll prepare a few more dishes. Great. Facing Su Zhengxiang's warm invitation, Grandpa Bai blushed, but he didn't hesitate and immediately nodded his head in agreement. His wife had passed away early, and his only two sons were still away from home. The second son in the village had his own family, and the old man usually ate alone. Just as there were only two little pigs left, someone next to Grandpa suddenly got a phone call. Gu Feng, quick-witted, went up to him and offered to help him hold down the piglet's hind legs. Despite their small size, these little guys have a lot of strength, and Gu Feng felt quite the strain as he held down their hind legs with both hands. His grandfather, holding a small knife in his hand, gently cut open the skin and watched as he removed the two spheres. Then, with another sharp cut, he roughly threw the cut-off object aside. Ow 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 ow. With a miserable howl, he did not forget to pick up the white powder next to him to medicate the little one. Grandpa, what is this? Gu Feng looked at the white powder in the basin with hesitation. This thing doesn't look like medicine at all. These? Veterinary medicine, for stopping bleeding and anti-inflammatory. While talking, he lifted the last piglet over and subconsciously pressed down on the piglet's two hind legs. The piglet squealed in pain. Su Luli didn't know when she had arrived behind Gu Feng. She watched as her grandfather cut off the last piglet. Her face froze, and she couldn't help but remind him, Grandpa, didn't you say you wanted to make a roast pig? This last piglet? Reminded of this, the old man suddenly remembered that this last little piglet was to be used for the roast pig, and there was no need to gut it. Oh. Gu Feng seemed to have understood something too, and looked awkwardly at the little piglet under his feet. The little one's dark eyes were wide open, and it was howling with its mouth wide open. One cut would have been enough, but now, not only had it been gutted, it had to be slaughtered as well. If he were this little pig, I'm afraid his heart would have already broken. He would definitely be thinking, Lao Dang, listen to me sing, thank you, because of you, the century is warmed. Lao Su, you tell me, you're going to slaughter it anyway, so why bother, you're just suffering for nothing. The old white gentleman next to him puffed up his cheeks and shook his head. Facing his friend's teasing, Su Jingxian looked helpless. I'm getting old, my reflexes are slow, I didn't even think of that. I'm halfway through, so I have to finish the surgery. After the surgery was painlessly completed, he immediately picked up the piglets and placed them in the bag next to him. I'll go register, and then clean up when I get back. To take the piglets back from here, you need to register them in the register, and you can either use the hours to offset the cost later or pay at the end of the month. A few minutes later, Su Jingxiang, who had registered, returned and picked up the piglets in the bag. Xiaofeng, Lioli, let's go. Chapter 99, Preserving the Meat in Advance. Holding the piglets, Gu Feng and Su Lioli followed closely behind. Gu Feng and Su Liuli followed closely behind. After exchanging a few words with the people inside, Mr. Bai also quickly followed. Su Zhengxiang, holding the piglets in his arms, walked straight to the side of the basket and tried to put the piglets in it. Seeing this, Gu Feng walked a few steps forward. "Grandpa, let's put the piglets in the car. I'll open the trunk. This is the back of Happy Village, a ways from home. We're driving anyway, so there's no way I'm letting the old man carry the piglet back." He opened the trunk of the Maybach, and looking at the brand new car in front of him, Su Jingxiang decisively shook his head. "Feng, the car is so new, it's not suitable for this. You and Liuli take your grandfather back first, I'll carry it, we'll be there in no time. Piggy is covered in dirt and has just had a spay operation. I wouldn't dare use such a nice car to carry a pig." The old man insisted on carrying the piglet back. Gu Feng hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward and took the piglet out of the basket. "Grandpa, there's nothing suitable or unsuitable. The car is here, how can you carry it back? Su Liuli, you take Grandpa and Grandpa by and get in the car first." As she watched Gu Feng put the piglet in the boot, Su Liuli slowly walked over to her grandfather, took the old man's arm, and said softly, "Grandpa, let's get in the car. We're all hungry, and if we go home early, you still have to cook for us." Su Jingxiang, this child, Gu Feng, is not that pretentious, so let's listen to what the two children say. Grandpa Bai raised his hand and gently patted Su Jingxiang's shoulder. The latter, upon hearing this, got into the car as instructed by his granddaughter. After taking care of the two elders and getting into the car, in the trunk, because of the recent surgery, the piglet was in pain and floundering back and forth. There was nothing Gu Feng could do but find two random pieces of string and tie its four legs together. The four pigs' feet were tightly tied together, and the piglet finally settled down. However, although his body was bound, his mouth was not, and he let out an unstoppable wail that made people's ears buzz. With great difficulty, he kept the sound down, let Su Liuli sit in the passenger seat, and quickly got around to the driver's seat himself. He closed the door, started the car, and all the movements were done in one go. When they returned home from the back mountain, Grandpa and Mr. Bai got out of the car, opened the trunk, and the two old men carried the piglet down as soon as possible. "Glass girl, you take Gu back to the house to rest first. Your grandfather and I will clean up this little guy. Roasting a pig requires marinating it in advance. Cleaning up this little piglet and marinating it for at least an hour is a must. Otherwise, it won't taste good at all." "Oh, Grandpa, then we'll go back first. Let's go." After saying this to her grandfather, Su Liuli took Gu Feng's wrist and turned to walk towards the house. The next scene was definitely quite bloody, and she didn't dare to watch. "Grandpa," the two of them gathered up the piglets. Gu Feng followed Su Liuli to the door, pushed open the door and entered the living room. The interior was quite old-fashioned. In the middle of the living room was a round table, and in the distance were two wooden chairs with dark red paint that had faded a bit. The floor was cement and not particularly flat, and it was obvious that it was a bit old. "You sit here and rest for a while, I'll get you a glass of water." Signaling Gu Feng to sit down, Su Liuli turned around and picked up the kettle next to her, embarrassed that there was no hot water in it. "Liuli, don't bother, I'm not thirsty. There's water in the car, I would have drunk it if I was thirsty." He got up, waved his hand, took Su Liuli's arm and let her sit first. "When are we going to confess to Grandpa? I feel that he is quite amiable, even if he can't help but beat me, he shouldn't beat me too hard, right?" He looked at Su Liuli nervously. He had originally just wanted to find some psychological comfort from her, but he didn't expect this little girl to be so uncooperative. She glanced aside with beautiful eyes and said with a strange expression on her pretty face, "Grandpa may seem amiable on the surface, but he can be very serious. Anyway, you'd better be prepared." "Prepared?" Gu Feng was taken aback and couldn't help but continue to ask, "Prepared for what?" "Of course, you're prepared to have your leg broken. That's what you said before." "Huh? You really want to break my leg?" "Liuli, I was just joking. This isn't real, is it?" He looked at Su Liuli with a face full of bitterness. In contrast, Su Liuli had rosy cheeks and a pretty face, and nodded happily, "It might be true." Having deliberately said that, she didn't care at all about Gu Feng's apprehensive expression, and got up and walked towards the bedroom in the distance. In order to make Gu Feng more comfortable, she had to tidy up the house again. After half an hour or so, Gu Feng and Su Liuli walked out of the room. In the courtyard outside, the piglet that had been wailing was now in a large metal basin. Various seasonings were smeared on the white skin, and according to Grandpa, it would take at least an hour to marinate it quietly. Gu Feng and Su Liuli, you two can have some lunch first. This roast pig will probably not be ready until the afternoon at the earliest, so Grandpa will go and cook you something to tide you over. With an apron tied around his waist, Su Jingxiang turned and walked towards the stove in the courtyard, and first simply boiled 2 bowls of noodles for Gu Feng and Su Liuli. Grandpa, we can do it ourselves. Let Grandpa do it. You two move a chair and sit in the courtyard to rest for a while. He shook his head and refused. There were no ready-made noodles at home, and he had to knead the dough first. The 2 children definitely couldn't do the kneading. As Grandpa instructed, Gu Feng carried a chair into the courtyard and sat down. He sat with Su Liuli on the chair. It was true that the air in the village was different from that in the city. Sitting here, looking at the blue sky in the distance, he felt an instant sense of peace. Little Gu, are you and Liuli classmates? Where are you from? Grandpa Bai was sitting in the courtyard, watching the pickled piglets. Perhaps he was too bored, because he suddenly turned his head and asked. Grandpa Bai, I went to school with Liuli. My family is from the imperial capital. Imperial capital? Well, that's not bad, a nice place. Grandpa Bai went to the imperial capital a few times when he was young. At that time, the country had just been founded and the imperial capital had not yet developed. It's different now, with the subway connecting all directions. From what I see on TV, it's very different from what it was a few decades ago. You two kids don't know, but when Grandpa Bai sat leisurely in his chair, he began to tell stories from his youth, and from time to time, Grandpa Liuli in the distance would add a few words. When the 2 old men talked about their pasts when they were young, they looked excited, and Gu Feng and Su Liuli were fascinated by what they heard. Okay, Bai, you can stop for now. Feng, do you want your poached eggs with a soft yolk? The old man was holding 2 eggs in his hands, but hadn't had time to crack them yet. Grandpa, I can eat anything. Not to mention soft-boiled eggs. When he was young he even ate raw eggs. He beat 2 poached eggs and watched as the old man finished cooking the noodles. Gu Feng hurriedly got up and came over to serve the noodles. Lao Bai, go and get the small table over there. Sure. Grandpa Bai got up and carried a small table from under the window and placed the 2 bowls of noodles on it. Grandpa, aren't you and Grandpa Bai going to eat? There are only 2 bowls of noodles on the table. Gu Feng is puzzled. He thought there would be 4 bowls of noodles, but there are only 2. Xiao Feng, you and Liuli eat, we are not hungry. Your grandfather and I are used to not eating at noon. If we eat now, we won't be able to eat in the afternoon. We have to roast the pig in the afternoon and prepare other dishes. Cooking noodles for Gu Feng and Su Liuli is just to fill their stomachs. The main dishes will be served in the afternoon. Chapter 100, The Black Bear Monster Who Stole the Monk's Robe. Let's eat, Grandpa. They're saving their stomachs for the wine. Right, dear grandpas? Su Liuli gave her grandfather a glance and pursed her lips slightly. Feeling their granddaughter's gaze, the 2 old men glanced at each other and laughed. Liuli still understands us. It's been a long time since we drank with your grandfather, so take this opportunity to have a few drinks. But don't worry, little girl, Grandpa Bai promises, it will definitely be in moderation. Gu, can you drink? You'll be drinking with Grandpa Bai later. Don't worry, I won't drink too much. The 2 of us are old and can't hold our drinks, so we're just drinking together for the fun of it. A smile hung on the old man's face as his gaze shifted from Su Liuli to Gu Feng. Grandpa Bai, I have a limited drinking capacity, but I can handle a little. His words were very humble, but this was not the time to brag. If the 2 old men got serious, he would not be able to handle it. Hearing Gu Feng say that they could drink together, Grandpa Bai's expression brightened, and he patted his thigh. Lao Su, you watch the pig for me, I'm going back to get something. What are you going back to get? We have everything at home, why bother? This is different. Keep a good eye on the pig, don't let the cats and dogs take it. While walking, he kept giving instructions, and before Grandpa could respond, Grandpa Bai had already walked out of the yard. Watching Grandpa Bai leave, Gu Feng curiously asked with chopsticks in hand, Grandpa, what is Grandpa Bai going to get? If nothing goes wrong, it should be wine. Su Jingxiang muttered. Wine. Next to him, Su Luli explained very appropriately, Grandpa Bai has a lot of wine in his collection, buried in their yard. He only takes it out to drink on happy occasions, so you're in for a real treat. With stars twinkling in her eyes, Baishi's pretty face beamed with a smile. Yes, thanks to your two children, I'll be able to taste these fine wines that old Bai has been saving. Under normal circumstances, he would never have taken them out to drink. Ha 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 ha. Grandpa said to himself, but Su Liuli and Gu Feng's faces suddenly turned pale, and they pointed their fingers in front of them together. Grandpa, the dog. What? Looking at the place where the two were pointing, Su Zhengxiang's expression changed. He didn't know where the two puppies came from, one was biting a pig's trotter, and they were about to drag the piglet out of the iron basin. Go. He panicked and got up, hurriedly waving his hands to scare the two puppies away. Fortunately, Gu Feng and Su Liuli reminded him in time, otherwise the roast pig this afternoon would have to be cancelled. In no time at all, Mr. Bai returned with 2 jugs of old wine, cheerfully placing them in front of Gu Feng. Gu, take a look at this wine. Have you seen it before? The bottle is similar to the ancient wine jars, but it is much smaller. To be honest, he is not a regular drinker and has never seen this kind of wine before. Grandpa Bai, I have never seen this wine before. Ah, that's right. This was an internal wine that Grandpa Bai distributed when he was at the machinery factory. It was a special factory supply that could not be bought on the market. Grandpa Bai explained with a smile, while Gu Feng looked carefully at the 2 wine jars in front of him. He could faintly see the words commemorative edition on them. Lao Bai, don't introduce your good wine anymore. Come over here and keep an eye on things while I go prepare some dishes. The future son-in-law cannot just have roast suckling pig as his only dish when he comes over. He needs to go to the kitchen and prepare some more. Liuli, you keep an eye on things while your grandfather and I go to the kitchen. He can't do it alone. In addition to preparing the food, he also has to light the charcoal fire in advance. Su Jingxiang simply can't do it alone. Good. With a nod, Su Luli went to the iron basin and stared at the piglets. Gu Feng got up and followed Grandpa Bai to the kitchen, watching as the old man took a large pile of round, bulging things out of a black bag. Grandpa Bai, what is this? The more he looked, the more familiar it looked. Gu Feng was shocked. This thing looks like a piggy's egg. These are pig eggs. We'll roast them later. Oh. It really is. Grandpa Bai explained without missing a beat. Gu Feng was dumbfounded. He didn't expect the old man to actually bring these things back to eat. But on second thought, it's not a big deal. Many of those barbecue restaurants in the city have this stuff. It's just that he's never eaten it before. Grandpa, I'll go light the charcoal, you two go ahead. He really couldn't be bothered with things like cleaning the pig's eggs. After thinking it over, he decided that burning charcoal was more reliable. He fetched some charcoal from afar, put it aside and started burning it. When it was almost ready, Su Jingxiang brought over a large cylinder, took some of the burning charcoal and put it underneath, then placed the piglet on top to roast it. Okay, let it roast slowly, at least 2 hours. Liuli, if you're not busy, take Xiaofeng for a walk around the village so he can get to know the surroundings. It's his first time here, so introduce him to the people. With the piglet already roasting, the next 2 hours will be a busy time for them, so Gu Feng and Su Liuli, who have nothing to do, can just go out for a walk. Oh, Gu Feng, let me show you around. Let's go. Great. I'll go wash my hands first. After burning charcoal for half a day, my hands are black. Although I don't care about my appearance that much, they can't be too black. Gu Feng walked over to the nearby faucet, and Su Liuli, taking long strides, came up behind him. Wash your face while you're at it. It's just burning charcoal, how could you get it all over your face? She took a small mirror and held it in front of Gu Feng, looking closely at the handsome and determined face inside, covered in soot. If this were a scene from the Journey to the West, it would be the Black Bear demon stealing the monk's robe. Chapter 101, Wear something thicker to protect yourself from beatings. Looking at himself in the mirror, Gu Feng subconsciously reached out to wipe his hands, forgetting for a moment the soot on them. Su Liuli stood to the side holding the mirror, her eyes looking at him like she was looking at a fool. Wash your hands first, I forgot. Smiling awkwardly, he turned on the tap and quickly washed the soot off his hands, then held up the water to wash his face. After washing back and forth for about 2 or 3 minutes, the soot on his face was finally washed off. Su Liuli, is there any more on your face? Standing up straight, she looked at Su Liuli seriously. Moving closer, she looked carefully at Gu Feng's face. It seemed like there was none left. Wipe your face and let's go out for a walk. As she took back the small mirror, she handed a new towel to Gu Feng. Wiping the water stains on his face clean, the two turned to greet their grandfather and walked out of the courtyard one after the other. Outside the house were paths leading in all directions, and at this time of day, there were basically no people. People usually spend their leisure time in the square in the middle of the village. Seeing Su Lily far away from him, Gu Feng stopped walking. Lily, are you going to the street next door? What are you doing so far away from me? I'm not going to eat you. Hearing Gu Feng's words, Su Lily moved a little closer. The main reason for keeping such a distance from Gu Feng was shyness. This was the first time she had brought a boyfriend home, and she was even more nervous than Gu Feng. Walking along the road, she was especially worried about meeting acquaintances. In the blink of an eye, the road came to an end. Su Liuli stopped and looked up curiously. Are we going to confess to Grandpa tonight? Tonight? Well, tonight is indeed a good time. Putting aside everything else, it is generally easier to talk about things after drinking, but I don't know if Grandpa will buy it. Let me ask in advance. Does Grandpa usually have high blood pressure? Does he have any underlying conditions such as heart disease? He looked at Su Liuli with a serious expression. Getting beaten up was a small matter, but if the old man got angry and had a heart attack, that would be a big sin. He didn't have high blood pressure or heart disease. You can rest assured about that. Su Liuli said playfully, with a smile on the corner of her mouth. She had lived with the old man for more than 20 years, and knew his physical condition best. That's good, I was worried that the old man wouldn't be able to handle it mentally. If he got angry and had a heart attack, then I would really have to eat the consequences. If Grandpa Su really gets angry, not only Su Liuli, but also the other elders in the family won't let him off the hook. Thinking about the family, she felt drowsy and thought she heard her phone vibrate. My phone is vibrating? She reached into her pants pocket and took out her phone. Sure enough, it was her phone vibrating. What's more, she didn't expect it to be her mother Song Huilun calling. It's my mom. Auntie's phone? Then answer it. Upon hearing that it was her future mother-in-law calling, Su Luli hurriedly signaled Gu Feng to answer the phone. She lifted her hand and pressed the answer button. Hello, Mom? In the office of the chairman of the D Capital Group, Song Huilun was sitting in front of the sofa, holding the phone in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other. Feng, what are you doing? Not much, just taking a walk with Luli. Luli is with you? If you'd told me earlier, I would have called Luli. When are you going to Luli's house? I'll remind you, you can't put this off for too long. The coffee was brought to her lips, and Song Huilun was about to take a sip when she heard Gu Feng's voice on the other end of the line. Mom, I know, I'm at Su Li's. What? You're at Su Li's? She was so excited that she almost spilled the coffee. Without thinking, she put the coffee back on the coffee table. Song Huilun's face was strained as she asked carefully, Did you also tell him that Su Li is pregnant? Ah, I haven't told him yet. It just arrived this morning, and I haven't had a chance to tell him yet. When are you going to tell him? Tonight. Tomorrow is Sunday, and he and Su Lili have to return to Shanghai, so I thought about it and realized that tonight is the only chance I have. After Gu Feng finished speaking, Song Huilan on the other end of the line was silent for 5 or 6 seconds. Mom, are you still there? Cough cough, I'm here. After you confess tonight, remember to call me back, and your father and I will come by tomorrow morning. You and my father are coming over? I was taken aback. I didn't expect my mother to come over too. Of course we have to go over. You've caused trouble, and we two elders have to go and apologize. We'll also discuss the wedding by the way. After the baby is born, you need to register with the household registration office. It's fine if you don't have a wedding for the time being, but you have to get your marriage certificate as soon as possible. Oh yes, remember to wear something warm tonight. Wear something warm? Why? Wear something warm to protect yourself from the beatings. Son, I'll burn incense at home for you and wish you good luck. Ah, you really are my real mother. Song Huilan had already hung up the phone before she could finish her words. Holding the phone, Gu Feng looked up at Su Lili in front of him and hesitated. My parents are coming tomorrow morning. Auntie and uncle are coming? Hearing Gu Feng's words, Su Lili couldn't help but tremble inside. Although she had thought that one day the two sets of parents would meet, she didn't expect it to happen so soon. What should we do? At a loss, she looked at Gu Feng. She really had no idea what to do now. It's okay, we'll take it one step at a time. It doesn't matter if they come or not. The most important thing now is how to tell Grandpa tonight. Along the path, accompanied by Su Lili, Gu Feng thought of countless possibilities in his mind. Unconsciously, it was 3 p.m., and Grandpa called to tell them to come back for dinner. Following Su Lili to the front door of the courtyard, he took a deep breath. He was going to take the plunge. In the courtyard, Grandpa Bai had already set the table. Seeing this, Gu Feng and Su Lili helped to bring over 4 chairs. Gu Feng, you're in for a treat today. Grandpa's roast pig is a great success. Have a slice later, you can try it first. Wearing a scarf, Su Jingxian came up behind Gu Feng and Su Lili and said with a smile. Okay. Thank you, Grandpa. Ha, we're all family, there's no need to be so polite with Grandpa. With a kind face full of kindness, after waiting for 10 minutes, he simply used a knife to cut off a piece of crispy skin from the belly of the piglet and slowly placed it on the plate in front of Gu Feng. Come on, try it first. Grandpa, you're biased, why don't you get me a piece too? Seeing that Grandpa had put the best piece of crispy skin in Gu Feng's plate, Su Lili pouted and pretended to be angry. Ha, silly girl, Grandpa will get you a piece. Happily, he cut off a small piece of crispy skin again and slowly put it in Su Lili's plate. Eat slowly, it's hot. Xiao Feng, how does it taste? Seeing that Gu Feng's mouth was full of oil as he ate, Su Jingxiang asked curiously. Chapter 102 What? Pregnant. It's delicious, Grandpa, the roast pig you made is even better than the ones you can buy at restaurants. While eating, Gu Feng kept nodding his head. This is really not flattery, the roast pig Grandpa made would definitely be a signature dish even if it was served in some star restaurants. The skin is crispy and the meat is tender, and the aroma goes straight to your head when you take a bite. Ha, as long as it's delicious. Lao Bai, that's about it, bring the food up here and let's get ready to eat. After roasting for nearly 2 hours, he raised his hand to indicate to Grandpa Bai while turning around to bring out 2 dishes of side dishes from the kitchen. As juniors, they could not let the 2 elders keep going back and forth, so Gu Feng and Su Lili got up one after the other to help with the dishes. In less than 5 minutes, everything was on the table. Grandpa Bai still loves to drink after all, so after everyone sat down, he opened the old wine he had been saving for years. Here, Xiaogu, I'll pour for you first. Grandpa Bai, I can do it myself. How can I let an elder pour for me? Gu Feng got up and took the bottle with both hands. Grandpa, I'll pour for you first. He poured for the 2 grandpas one after the other, and after filling them up, he only then poured himself a glass symbolically. Xiaogu, I really like you, you're not only good looking, but also have a good personality. Su Laosher, do you like this son-in-law? Smiling happily, he turned to look at Su Jingxiang next to him. Hearing his old friend's words, Su Jingxiang also did not hide his inner appreciation. I like it. I believe in eye contact. I knew at first glance that Feng is definitely a good grandson-in-law. The old man kept praising, and Gu Feng felt embarrassed. Grandpa, I'll toast you two first. Good. The three of them raised their glasses together, and Su Luli next to them subconsciously lifted the juice in front of her. Once the first toast was made, everyone started to eat. From the moment they sat down, the smiles on the faces of the two elderly people never disappeared. So, Gu, how did you manage to win over Luli? This girl has always been good at her studies, but she is a bit of an introvert. It must have taken a lot of effort to win her over. Grandpa Bai leaned back in his chair. Despite his age, he had a curious mind. Gu Feng glanced at Su Luli first, feeling the threat in the other person's eyes, and laughed quietly. It did take a lot of effort. I confessed my love to her several times before she agreed. Ha 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 ha. Alright, Grandpa Bai, you like to ask questions, just eat. I dare not let the old man continue asking. I have to let him know that I was the one who confessed to Gu Feng, and the whole village will know tomorrow. Even the two puppies that just had a pig's leg are no exception. That said, these two puppies are really smart. As if they knew there was something delicious here, they have been hanging around the courtyard. Su Jingxiang is also an old gentleman who likes animals. From time to time, he will pick up some meat and throw it next to them. The two little ones eat it with relish. The meal lasted nearly 2 hours, and one of the 2 bottles of wine that Grandpa Bai brought has already been emptied. It's almost time, I have to go back. Su, is it convenient here? If not, let the boy Gu sleep at my place. Gu, Grandpa Bai's house is right next door, just a short walk away. Pointing to the left, it is no wonder that the old man was so quick to get the wine when he went to get it. It turns out that his home is next door. I have a lot of empty rooms here, so you can just stay here. I'll walk you out. Hearing that Grandpa Bai was going back, Gu Feng and Su Lili got up to see him off. After seeing Grandpa Bai off, the three of them turned around and returned to the courtyard. Lioli, you should relay Feng's bed. I already dried the quilt yesterday, and it's not that cold at night at this time of year, so you don't need to cover up much. While tidying up the yard, he gestured to Su Lili to go to the inner room and tidy up. They accompanied Grandpa as they cleaned up the yard. As it grew dark outside, Gu Feng and the others went to the middle living room. Xiao Feng, I heard from Luli that you have something to tell Grandpa? Just say it, we're all family, don't be shy. Pouring a cup of warm water, Su Jingxiang sat down on the side. Gu Feng heard this and glanced slightly nervously at Su Luli next to him. Unexpectedly, the other party did not even look at him. Cough cough. Grandpa, my parents are going to come and visit you tomorrow morning. Your parents are coming? Su Jingxiang was full of surprise. In his opinion, his granddaughter and Gu Feng were just dating, so why had it suddenly come to a point where the parents of both sides were meeting? Yes, Grandpa, my parents are coming. He was about to prepare to confess about the pregnancy when, at a critical moment, Su Lili suddenly interrupted. Grandpa, I have something to tell you, let's go to the back room for a bit. Su Jingxiang was puzzled when his beloved granddaughter suddenly came up to him. What's wrong with you two? Silly girl, why can't you tell Feng in front of us? He knows what I'm going to say. With Gu Feng's shocked gaze, Su Lili took her grandfather's arm and led him to the side room. 10 seconds later. What? Pregnant. Sitting in the living room, Gu Feng could almost hear the anger in the old man's words. Her heart was pounding, and she was extremely nervous. A few minutes later, Su Jingxiang came out with a cold face, and behind him, Su Luli looked a little serious. Phew! He let out a heavy breath. The old man was so angry that his face turned red, and his eyes revealed anger, quite a bit of the momentum of wanting to eat people. Grandpa didn't say anything, and Gu Feng didn't dare to speak either, so the old man and the young sat awkwardly. After a long time, the silent Su Jingxiang finally spoke. As a man, you should have the courage to take responsibility. Feng, what do you think we should do next? His expression was solemn, a complete change from his previous amiable attitude. Su Jingxiang blew his mustache and glared. If it wasn't for his granddaughter's strong dissuasion, he would never have let the young scoundrel off so easily. Grandpa, my parents are coming tomorrow morning. Apart from apologizing to you, I also want to discuss our wedding with you. I was in the wrong about this matter, and if you feel aggrieved, you can hit me a few times to let off some steam. I promise, I won't say a word. He stood up with a determined look in his eyes, and this was no idle threat. I was going to scold him, but then Gu Feng suddenly did this, and it put Su Jingxiang in an awkward position. Well, it's too late now, and scolding you won't help. Seeing that you are willing to take responsibility, and with Liu Li interceding for you, I'll let it go for now, and your grandfather will see how you behave later. I only have one granddaughter, and if you dare bully her, I'll fight for her to the death. After giving a stern lecture, he picked up the glass full of water and got up. It was getting late, so he would go rest first. You two, don't stay in the same room at night, stay apart. So as not to let people gossip. After saying this to the two of them, the old man put on his jacket and hobbled towards the small house in the west. There were only 2 bedrooms in the upper room, one for his granddaughter and the other for Gu Feng, while he would go to the western wing. Chapter 103, Do you want me to get beaten up? Watching his grandfather leave in silence, Su Luoli slowly walked to the door and closed it with a hand. Her graceful figure turned around, and her pure and flawless gaze looked at Gu Feng. If I didn't make you get beaten up, do you want to thank me? A curve formed on her soft lips, and a playful gleam flashed in her eyes. Before she planned to come back yesterday, she had already decided that she would tell Grandpa about the pregnancy. If she really let Gu Feng tell him, according to Grandpa's character, he might really hit her. Liu Li, you already decided that you would tell Grandpa yourself? Well, what else? Her beautiful eyes blinked lightly, and every wrinkle and smile made her look so cute. Now that Grandpa already knows, let's go to bed early tonight, and tomorrow morning we'll go to the village entrance to greet our uncles and aunts. Good night. After saying this softly, Su Luli turned around slowly, took a few steps forward, and then her body suddenly stopped. Do you want to come and stay with me tonight? Her face was slightly round, her smile was very sweet, her big, dark, shiny eyes were smiling from the corners of her mouth. Oh, no, I'd rather sleep in a separate room. Without hesitation, she shook her head to refuse. If this were in the Magic City or the Imperial City, he would definitely say yes, but this is Happy Village, and his grandfather is right outside. He was still angry, and if he insisted on spending the night in his granddaughter's room, there would be trouble. Her eyes were shy and demure, her lips gradually breaking into a smile. Su Liuli's expression was strange. It wasn't that I didn't want you to come, it's just that you didn't want to come. Good night. It was rare for Gu Feng to be such a gentleman for once, so he happily waved his hand and turned to go to the bedroom next door. Wait. Liuli, I want to know, what did you say to Grandpa? I'm not telling you. Su Liuli quickly walked into the room and closed the door behind her. With her slender body leaning against the door and her rosy face, she felt embarrassed when she thought about what she had just told her grandfather. She liked the man, and the baby in her stomach couldn't do without a father. What about the grandson? Su Liuli, what did you say? At the time, I was only thinking of getting Grandpa to drop his hostility towards Gu Feng, and I really just blurted out whatever came into my head. Standing in the living room, Gu Feng's mind was a blank, his eyes staring blankly at the bedroom door. He still hadn't reacted yet, and with such a big thing as Su Liuli being pregnant, did Grandpa just brush it off so lightly? Phew! If you survive a disaster, there will be blessings. Let's call first. Relieved, he returned to his room. After Su Luli had tidied up, the room was very warm and welcoming. He closed the bedroom door and took out his mobile phone to call his mother. In the living room of the Gu Manor, Gu Huiyun was holding a few incense sticks and reverently placing them in front of the Guanyin Bodhisattva statue. Buddha, please bless me, please bless me. In front of the sofa in the living room, Grandma Gu Feng and Gu Jinghua looked at each other blankly. A few seconds later, Grandma got up with the help of her walking stick. Jinghua, what is Huilan doing? What is she praying for? The old lady looked puzzled. Usually her daughter-in-law is not the kind of person who worships Buddha, but today she even took the initiative to burn incense? Mom, I don't know either. It's cool today, why don't you go back early and rest? With a walking stick, stooped over, and a glance at her daughter-in-law in the distance, the old lady nodded. It was indeed cooler, and there was nothing to do just sitting in the living room, so she might as well go to her room early and rest. Watching the old lady go back silently, Gu Jinghua slowly came up behind Song Huilan. I said, "Wife, why are you still praying? Didn't you say Xiaofeng went to Liuli's house? It's this time of night, don't you want to call and ask?" Call? What call? You call. This afternoon I promised Xiaofeng that I would burn incense for him tonight to pray for blessings. At this hour, the kid is probably getting a beating. She glanced at Gu Jinghua and walked straight to the sofa and sat down. Gu Jinghua felt a little uneasy upon hearing this and looked at the Guanyin statue not far in front of him and bowed respectfully. Not long after the two of them sat down in front of the sofa, the mobile phone on the coffee table started vibrating. When she saw the caller ID, Song Huilan decisively picked up the phone and handed it to Gu Jinghua. "Honey, you answer it." "What? Me?" With a nervous expression, Gu Jinghua looked up at Song Huilan with incredulous eyes. "Honey, are you serious? The baby is calling you." "I don't care, just answer it." Without further ado, she pressed the answer button and threw the phone straight into Gu Jinghua's arms. "Hello? Mom?" Gu Feng's familiar voice came over the phone, and Gu Jinghua had to pick up the phone. "Xiaofeng, I'm not your mom, I'm your dad." "Dad?" He called his mom, but heard his dad's voice on the other end. Thinking he had dialed the wrong number, he took the phone away from his ear and looked at the phone number displayed on it. "Huh? It's my mom's phone." "Dad, why are you holding my mom's phone? Where is she?" "Your mom? She's possessed." "Get out, Gu Jinghua, you're the one dancing." Her face turned cold. She didn't hear anything from Gu Feng's voice, so Song Huilan came up silently and took the phone from him. "Xiaofeng, are you okay? Did you get beaten up?" she asked carefully, and Gu Feng couldn't help rolling his eyes when he heard his mother's tone. "Mom, are you hoping I'll get beaten up?" "I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I didn't get beaten up." "What? You didn't get beaten up? What happened? You little brat, you didn't dare tell us, did you? Your father and I have already confirmed the itinerary. You have to tell Grandpa Liuli tonight no matter what. You'll get a cut either way, so just do it. I've already prayed to the Buddha for you, and he'll protect you." Sitting on the bed, listening to his mother's voice from the other side, Gu Feng couldn't help but lift his hand and touch his nose. Every time he was helpless, he would lift his hand and touch his nose. Over the years, he had long since formed the habit. Please listen to my explanation first. I didn't say it, it was Liuli who said it for me. Liuli said it for you? What happened? Song Huilan and Gu Jinghua exchanged glances after hearing about their daughter-in-law's actions. "Xiaofeng, you found a good daughter-in-law for our family. Tomorrow morning, your mother and I will fly directly to Longhai City. If the flight doesn't get delayed, we'll land around 8 o'clock. Send the exact location of Liuli's home to your mother's phone." "Okay." After a few casual words, he hung up the phone and sent the location of Happy Village to his mother's phone. Lying on the bed, he looked up at the ceiling of the house, and before he knew it, sleepiness hit him, and he fell asleep like that. When he opened his eyes again, it was already 5 o'clock in the morning. When Grandpa learned about the pregnancy, his heart, which had been hanging in the balance, finally settled. He lay in bed last night without taking off his clothes and fell asleep. And he slept very soundly. Now that he got up, he felt refreshed. Chapter 104, Little Brat, Don't Scream. Early in the morning, Su Luli's room door was tightly closed, and it looked like she hadn't yet woken up. Gu Feng opened the door, raised his leg and stepped out the door. In the middle of the courtyard, Su Jingxian was sweeping the courtyard with a large broom. When he noticed someone coming out, the old man straightened up and then slightly glanced sideways. After seeing Gu Feng, he couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, "Little Feng, what are you doing up so early? This old man has a short sleep time and is prone to insomnia. Do you, a young man, also suffer from insomnia? With his hands supporting the broom, Su Jingsheng smiled happily. Grandpa, you're up early too. Let me help you sweep, he said, quickly approaching Su Jingsheng and grabbing the broom without saying a word. This is a good opportunity to show off, and I must seize it. You child, I can do it myself. You are a guest, how can you let a guest sweep the yard? No, did Grandpa forget? Yesterday you said we are a family. You are the elder, I am the younger, it is only right that I help you. While stooping to sweep the courtyard, he did not forget to remind him. Gu Feng had a good argument, and Su Jingsheng was stunned. You child, aren't you just using my words to shut me up? Forget it, you sweep. I'm going out for a while, I'll get you some breakfast. The main reason for getting up so early to clean was that Gu Feng's parents were coming over, and the first meeting between the two sets of parents naturally had to be well prepared. It can't be said to be tidied up in a decent way, but at least it should be a bit cleaner. There was no way to convince Gu Feng, so she could only leave the broom to the other party, find a basket from the house and take it out with her when she left. After cleaning the yard, she also tidied up the wood by the stove. The advantage of living in the countryside is that you can cook with dry firewood, and the food will taste even better with the smell of smoke. That's about it. She pats the dust off her hands, looks around the yard contentedly, and since she really can't find anything else to do, she goes over to the window in silence. Su Lioli? Are you awake? Standing in the yard, she gently knocks on the window. After a long while, a hazy voice echoes inside the house. No. No? No, how can you speak if you're not awake? I'm lying in the middle of the bed, Su Lioli hugging the quilt, sleepily looking at the alarm clock on the bedside table. It's barely 6 o'clock. She didn't want to bother with Gu Feng outside at all, and she wanted to continue sleeping. She had gone home and slept really comfortably, and she really didn't want to get up so early. Bored, Gu Feng returned to the living room and pushed the door to Su Liuli's room with his hand, not expecting that it would open with just a gentle push. It wasn't locked. He muttered to himself, and then sidled in. At this time, Su Liuli was still sleeping with the quilt wrapped around her, and she didn't notice that Gu Feng had already come in. Liuli? In front of her, on the bed, Su Liuli was lying on her side, sleeping quietly. Her features were exquisite, her pretty face beautiful and pure, and her crystal-clear snow-white skin glistened. Her pure and beautiful eyes were bashfully closed, her eyelashes tightly concealing her pair of autumnal eyes. Beneath her fair and delicate, straight neck, her soft and plump, slender breasts were half exposed. Gu Feng's voice faintly sounded in her ears, and Su Liuli, who was still asleep, thought she was still dreaming. After waiting for more than 10 seconds, she slowly opened her eyes. When she saw Gu Feng standing in front of her, Su Liuli hurriedly got up. Gu Feng? When did you come in? I came in a long time ago. You were sleeping so soundly, you didn't hear me. She shrugged her shoulders, and really didn't deliberately sneak in. It was just that she slept so soundly that she didn't hear a thing. She was so happy that she didn't get beaten up yesterday that she got up so early, like she was on steroids. I need to get up, so you can go out first. She lifted the quilt off her body, and Su Liuli was wearing only a beige bra on her upper body, her proud figure on full display in front of Gu Feng. I'm getting dressed, aren't you going out? Half kneeling on the bed, she got her clothes from the closet and brought them to the bed, looking curiously at Gu Feng. We're an old married couple, it's fine for me to watch here. Go ahead. With a smile on her face, Gu Feng not only didn't leave, but instead stood in the same place, looking with relish. Don't look. Su Liuli has been pregnant for a long time, but her figure hasn't really changed much, especially on her lower abdomen, where there is hardly any extra fat at all. Are you sure you want to watch here? A hint of strangeness was revealed in her beautiful eyes, and Su Liuli suddenly looked up and shouted, Grandpa. He was still looking carefree, but after hearing Su Liuli call him Grandpa, Gu Feng's face suddenly changed. Sho, little ancestor, don't shout, I'll go out right now. I'll go right now. He raised his index finger and gave it a couple of vigorous taps at Su Lioli, then hurriedly opened the door and ran to the living room. He had only wanted to tease Su Lioli, but he never expected her to be so rude as to call him grandpa at the first opportunity. Oops. Ha, she's faster than a rabbit. Gu Feng fled in disgrace, and Su Lioli couldn't help laughing out loud. Coincidentally, at this time, Su Jingxiang returned home with a basket. Lioli, have you got up yet? After putting the basket in the kitchen, the old man looked up and saw that the curtain of his granddaughter's window had not been lowered yet, so it seemed that she had not yet got up. It seemed that he heard someone call him grandpa, but was it just tinnitus and he heard it wrong? He lowered his head and shook his head. Gu Feng came out of the house at the right time and went to the kitchen to look at the basket. Grandpa, are these goose eggs? It's so big. He reached out and picked up a goose egg, which almost covered his palm. He usually eats a lot of eggs and duck eggs, but he has never really eaten goose eggs before. Grandpa, I raised a few geese, so I went and got some goose eggs. They will help Lioli regain her strength. By the way, pregnancy is no trivial matter. Have you gone to the hospital for a checkup? What did the doctor say? It was late last night, and I was a little angry, so I didn't have time to ask anything. Don't worry, Grandpa. I took Luli to the hospital for a checkup, and the doctor said that Luli is in good health and the baby is developing normally. That's good to hear. I'm an old man and I really don't have much experience in these matters. Pull up a small stool and sit by the stove to light a fire. Grandpa, I see an electric cooker over there. Why don't you use it to boil the goose eggs? I'm not used to it. I've been using the stove my whole life, and I still find it more convenient to light a fire. Su Jingxiang and Gu Feng were chatting, and Su Luli, who had finished dressing, opened the living room door and walked straight to the faucet with toiletries in her hands. Grandpa, I'm going to wash up too. Okay, go ahead. After saying hello to her grandfather, she took out the tooth cup and toothbrush from the house and followed Su Luli to the faucet to wash up. Chapter 105, Do As I Say. After the two finished washing up, Grandpa had breakfast ready. There were 2 extra large goose eggs in the bowl, one for each of them. Goose eggs. Grandpa, did you get these huge goose eggs from Grandpa Bai's house? They looked surprised. In their alley, only Grandpa Bai's house kept geese. After eating this one, can we eat anything else? The goose eggs in the bowl are the size of a palm, and Su Luli is surprised. She thinks that after eating such a large goose egg, there is no need to eat anything else. Goose eggs are nutritious, and you need to build up your strength now. Your grandfather heard that you wanted to eat them, and he sent 6 at once. But don't worry, I already paid him back with money. I had to argue with him for a long time in the next courtyard, or else I would have already returned with the things. Come on, you two each have one. Xiaofeng, when are your parents going to arrive? Do you want to go and greet them? He divided the 2 goose eggs between Gu Feng and Su Lili, while Su Jingxiang carried a bowl of millet porridge. He had been eating millet for decades, and it had become a habit to drink millet porridge in the morning. The plane arrived at Longhai Airport at 8 o'clock, and it would be almost 9 o'clock when they arrived at Xingfu village. Judging from the time, his parents would definitely arrive before 10 o'clock. Okay, then let's go to the village entrance together at 9 o'clock to greet them. They have come a long way from the imperial capital by plane, so out of respect, we must greet them at the village entrance. Do you want me to help you peel the goose egg? It's more difficult to peel than an egg. Su Lui held the goose egg in her hands, and Gu Feng, who was standing next to her, never moved. He stared at the goose egg in front of him, and for a moment, he didn't know how to start. It's okay, I can do it myself. She lifted her hand, picked up the goose egg, and tapped it gently on the table. I don't know if it's because he's too weak or the egg is too hard, but after knocking it back and forth twice, the huge egg didn't even crack. Xiaofeng, use the corner of the table to make a small nick at the top first. There's air inside, so just let some out and it'll peel off. Seeing how clumsy Gu Feng was, Su Jingxiang couldn't help but put down his chopsticks, get up, take the egg from Gu Feng's hands, and knock it twice hard against the corner of the table. With both hands exerting force at the same time, the almost intact eggshell was peeled off. It was white and flawless, like a bright night pearl. Shock flashed in his eyes. Gu Feng subconsciously reached out and took the peeled goose egg. "Grandpa, you're amazing. You were able to peel such a large goose egg in one piece." If it were him, there's no exaggeration in saying that not even the outer layer of egg white would be left. Even next to him, Su Luli, after a while of peeling, a lot of the outer layer of egg white had been peeled off. Facing Gu Feng's praise, Grandpa shook his head with a smile. "There is nothing amazing about it. In the past, the family also raised geese and ate goose eggs often. Practice makes perfect. The boiled goose egg really tastes different from a boiled egg. You should try it." Listening to Grandpa, Gu Feng opened his mouth and took a bite of the goose egg. Perhaps it was too big, and he didn't even taste the yolk in one bite. It took a lot of effort, and he had to drink 3 glasses of water before he finished the whole goose egg. Su Lili did almost the same thing, and the whole time she used millet porridge to get the goose egg to her stomach. It was just 7 o'clock after breakfast, and it was still too early to go out and wait. They sat in the living room to rest and chat with their grandfather. In the blink of an eye, it was almost 9 o'clock. "Gu Feng, it's 9 o'clock, you call and ask where your aunt and uncle are." "Okay." Upon hearing Su Lili's words, Gu Feng took out his mobile phone and dialed his mother's number. At this time of day, his parents should be on their way from Longhai City to Xingfu Village. Do. After a few consecutive busy signals, the phone finally answered. "Mom, where are you?" "Well, according to the time shown on the navigation, you will arrive at Xingfu Village in 20 minutes. 20 minutes? Okay, I understand. We will wait for you at the entrance of the village." After hanging up the phone, Su Lili, who was standing next to him, looked up at Su Zhengxiang, who was sitting in the main seat. "Grandpa, your uncle and aunt will be here soon, let's go to the village entrance to welcome them." "Okay." The old man stood up, and it would take a few minutes to walk from home to the village entrance. After closing the door, the group walked out the door. The people in the village generally got up early, and as Gu Feng and the others walked towards the village entrance, there were already quite a few people sitting together chatting and basking in the sun in the square outside. When they saw Su Zhengxiang and Su Luli, everyone greeted them enthusiastically. "Su Zhengxiang, where are you going with the 2 children?" "Oh, Feng's parents are coming to visit, so I went out with the 2 children to greet them." Su Jingxiang responded with a smile, but unbeknownst to him, these words sounded like a rallying cry in everyone's ears, and suddenly, everyone became interested. "Their parents are coming? Luli, you're going to prepare a wedding banquet for us. This is their first time in our village, so we can't let them down. How about we all go with you to greet them at the entrance to the village?" Upon Auntie Wang's invitation, the old men and young boys in the distance all got up and gathered around, while Gu Feng and Su Liuli stood dumbfounded in their place. Even Su Zhengxiang's gaze was a little dazed. "Liuli, everyone is too enthusiastic." In terms of hospitality, he had never seen anyone more enthusiastic than the people of Happy Village. "I didn't expect everyone to be so enthusiastic either." Zhang opened his mouth, and Su Liuli whispered next to Gu Feng, looking up at the grandfather next to him. The old man's face was covered with an embarrassed smile, and obviously he hadn't expected it either. In this way, there were originally only 3 people, but after Aunt Wang made such a call, the welcoming team was made up of dozens of people. It was quite boring for everyone to just stand and wait, so I'll get some music for us. What Gu Feng and Su Liuli didn't expect was that after Aunt Wang made a phone call to the village party secretary, the welcome song suddenly started playing from the Happiness Village sign. At this point, Gu Feng's legs had long since gone numb. As they got closer and closer to Happiness Village, Song Huilan, sitting in the back of the business car, gripped Gu Zhen's arm tightly with both hands. "I said, wife, do you have to be so nervous? After all, she is an elder, so can you act a little more composed?" He cheerfully raised his hand and patted the back of Song Huiran's hand. Compared to Song Huiran's nervousness, Gu Zheng's behavior could be described as quite composed. Back then, he had never been nervous about meeting his future mother-in-law, and now he was going to meet the in-laws, and he felt no pressure at all. "I want to be composed too, but who let our child do something unreasonable?" If this were a normal meeting with the in-laws, I definitely wouldn't be nervous. Song Huiran retorted, and Gu Xinghua, who heard this, went and shook his head with a smile. Really? Who was the one who got out of the car and tried to run away when we went to my house that year? If I hadn't dragged you back, you would have run off somewhere. Hearing this, Song Huilan suddenly felt a little embarrassed, and she ignored Gu Xinghua next to her. She let go of his arm and turned her head to look out the window. I said, when we see Grandpa Liuli later, we have to act exaggeratedly. Just do as I say, got it? Honey, is that really necessary? Gu Xinghua's expression was bitter. He had just come here to meet his in-laws, but it felt like he was in infernal affairs, having to watch his every move. Oh well, just do as you're told, you can't go wrong. 5 minutes later, the car stopped in front of the archway of Xingfu village. Song Huilan looked puzzled as she listened to the loud singing outside. When the two got out of the car and saw a large crowd of people in the distance, not only Song Huilan, but even Gu Xinghua was a little dazed. Honey, why are there so many people? These can't all be Liuli's relatives, can they? There are just too many of them. Chapter 106, It's the father's fault for not teaching his children. She could accept a dozen relatives, but judging from the scene in front of her, there must be at least 40 or 50 people. Mom and Dad. Auntie and Uncle. Upon seeing Song Huilan and Gu Xinghua, Gu Feng and Su Liuli quickly came up to them. Liuli, you seem to have lost weight since I last saw you a few days ago. Did this brat not take good care of you? Song Huilan looked at her daughter-in-law with love, lifted her hand to touch her face, and then turned to her son next to her, her eyes cold. Auntie, Gu Feng treats me very well. I've actually gained weight. By the way, let me introduce you and Uncle, this is my grandfather. Turning to look at her grandfather, upon hearing Su Liuli's introduction, Song Huilan immediately respectfully stepped forward. Hello, Mr. Su. Grandpa Su, I'm Gu Feng's father, Gu Xinghua. Gu Xinghua took a step forward and respectfully extended his hand to greet Su Jingxiang. As a junior, it is only right to show some respect in front of your elders. However, in Gu Xinghua's position, there are really not many people in the whole country who can receive this treatment. Xinghua, not bad, your name is very loud. You must be tired along the way, these are the neighbors and folks from Xingfu village, everyone has come to greet you together. The old man pointed behind him with his finger. Gu Xinghua heard what he said and immediately raised his hand and gave everyone a fist bump. Thank you all for your warm hospitality. Gu, what are you talking about? Xiaofeng, this child married Liuli, and in the future, he and our happy village will be one family. As family, there is no need to be so polite. Ha ha, everyone is right. Xinghua, you must be tired from the journey, let's go home and rest. Let's go. Okay, Grandpa, wait a second. We brought you some gifts from the imperial capital. I don't know what you like, so we bought what we thought you would like. It's a token of our appreciation. Please accept it. While they were talking, they took Gu Feng to the trunk of the business car, which the driver had already opened in advance. There were 6 boxes in total, all of them containing precious tonic products. Just come, what's the point of bringing things? I can't eat all this stuff, don't bother bringing anymore, just leave it in the car. Su Jingxiang hurriedly waved his hands to refuse, and he really wasn't being polite. Having lived in the village for most of his life, he had never eaten anything like ginseng or deer antler, and he wasn't used to it. Old man, the things are our goodwill, you must accept them no matter what. Liuli, quickly take your grandfather and let's go home. Song Huilan winked at Su Liuli, who immediately understood and walked over to her grandfather. Grandpa, let's go home first. Uncle said it's goodwill, so you should accept it, Su Liuli whispered, taking her grandfather's arm. Su Lili whispered as she took her grandfather's arm. Upon hearing this, Su Zhenxian's mouth curled up in a wry smile, and he pointed at Su Lili's head. You little girl, you're already turning your back on me? You think Grandpa is being polite? Grandpa really doesn't need these things. Forget it, just take them. Su Zhenxiang and Su Lili led the way, followed by Gu Feng and his parents, while the driver was left waiting at the village entrance. Mom, are you going back to the imperial capital today? Taking advantage of the break in walking, Gu Feng snuck up to his parents. Facing his son's words, Song Huilan smiled meaningfully. No, I'm not going back. You're not going back? Mom, why are you looking at me like that? It feels like you're up to no good. They walked back along the path to the courtyard. Su Luli helped her grandfather sit down in the main seat in the living room. At the old man's signal, Gu Jinghua sat down in the chair next to him. Song Huilan stood where she was, not sitting down immediately, but looking at Gu Feng. Grandpa Lioli, we already know that this child, Feng, has made a mistake. It is the father's fault for not teaching his child. Today, apart from apologizing to you, his father and I have decided to teach this child a lesson to avenge you and Lioli. Today, we must break one of his legs to let him know what pain is. Song Huilan took out a feather duster with a telescopic pole from somewhere and raised her hand to hit Gu Feng's butt. Gu Feng was startled by the sudden action. Auntie! Seeing that Gu Feng was about to be beaten, Su Luli hurriedly got up to stop her. Even Su Zhengxiang got up. Feng's mother, don't do it, let's talk it over. Who hasn't made mistakes when they were young? It's a small mistake, just correct it. I think Feng is a good kid. I feel very comfortable leaving him in charge of Lioli. Lioli even told me yesterday that if the baby were really hurt by the beating, the unborn baby would have to blame us. Lioli also said that she really likes Feng, and that the two kids are very much in love, so we, as their elders, shouldn't care so much. Su Jingxiang stood still, exhorting with all his heart. Song Huilan pretended to hesitate on hearing this, and then slowly retracted the feather duster. Su Luli quickly came over to Gu Feng's side, ignoring the stares of the elders around her, and reached up to feel Gu Feng's bottom. Does it hurt? Her eyes were slightly red, and she didn't know why, but watching Gu Feng get beaten up, she suddenly felt like crying. It doesn't hurt, don't worry, it doesn't hurt at all. Our mom was just getting back at Grandpa. He whispered in her ear, and on hearing Gu Feng's explanation, Su Luli finally understood that her aunt hadn't really hit him hard. In fact, last night I heard the child Su Lioli say this to me, and I was very angry too. But then I thought, getting angry won't solve the problem. Now that it's happened, we should think about a solution. Coming over to Gu Jinghua, Song Huilan slowly sat down. Old man, I really like this girl Su Lioli. This time I came to apologize to you, and also to discuss with you the matter of the two children getting married with a certificate. The baby in my belly can't be delayed, and my idea is to get engaged first, then get a certificate, and have the wedding after the baby is born. Everything will be done according to your family's customs. You are the elder, and the two children will listen to you about their engagement. We don't have any objections. We are attracted to your daughter-in-law as a person, and the rest of the tedious customs are not a problem. Chapter 107, Say Mom for 10,000 yuan. Song Huilan's words were full of sincerity. Su Jingxiang glanced at his granddaughter in the distance and nodded silently. No problem, that's what I meant. The child in the womb cannot be delayed, so let's get the certificate first and register the child. Grandpa, so you agree? A little surprise was revealed in his eyes. Song Huilan didn't expect the old man to agree so readily. Agreed. I'll look for a date for the engagement, and you two help organize it. In the meantime, let the two children go get their certificates. You need proof before the child is born. Okay, no problem. Don't worry, Grandpa, we'll make sure the engagement ceremony for the two children is beautiful. As long as you agree to let the children get their certificates, everything else is negotiable. It's just an engagement ceremony, she'll get it ready when she goes back this time, and Su Laoli will book the hotel as soon as she's informed of the date. Gu Feng and Su Laoli stood quietly listening as the marriage was settled like this, and Su Laoli suddenly felt a little nervous inside. Everything seemed like a dream. Laoli, you take care of your in-laws. Sit down first, Grandpa will go prepare lunch. The matter had been settled, and Su Jingxiang got up to prepare lunch. Seeing this, Gu Jinghua followed his lead and went over to the old man. Grandpa, you don't need to prepare lunch, we're leaving soon. Today, the two children are also going back to the Magic City, and we have some business there, so we'll take the children with us. No, it's not easy to come here, you have to stay for lunch. I've already prepared something, we'll have stewed goose for lunch. Xingguo, you sit quietly. Insisting that Su Jingwa sit back in his chair, today's lunch, no matter what, the two of them must eat. The old man is so insistent, let's finish eating before we leave. You and I don't mind being hungry, but we can't let the child Liuli go hungry either. Gu Xingwa sat back down, and after Song Huilan next to him finished speaking, she turned her gaze to her daughter-in-law in front of her. Liuli, come to mommy. Mom? Upon hearing these words from Song Huilan, the three people present were taken aback. Su Liuli's face turned red, and she clutched Gu Feng's clothes tightly with both hands. She didn't expect that her aunt would be so forthright, and as soon as the matter was settled, she immediately told her to call her mom. She hadn't called her mom for so many years, and suddenly she was told to do so, so she was a little hesitant. Mom, isn't it a bit too early to call me mom? You should at least give me some time to get used to it. Gu Feng was completely ignored as Song Huilan got up and went over to Su Luli, took her hand and said, Girl, you'll have to call her mom sooner or later, so it's better to get used to it sooner rather than later. I've prepared a reward for you. Call her mom and I'll give you 10,000 yuan. Su Luli's eyes widened at this, and Gu Feng reacted in time, grinning and saying, Mom. While calling her mom, she didn't forget to reach out with a smug face. Call me mom and I'll give you 10,000 yuan. On average, you can make 1 billion yuan a day if you call me once a second. What are you doing? Song Huilan looked at Gu Feng's outstretched hand with a puzzled expression. He, call me mom and I'll give you money. 10,000 yuan for every mom. You said so yourself. That's not what happened. Luli called you mom and gave you 10,000 yuan for raising you all these years. Now that you're calling me mom, you want money too? You're lucky if I don't ask you for it. Go away. Gu Feng waved his hand casually, and a pig liver color suddenly appeared on his face, which had originally been smiling. This is so unfair, the daughter-in-law called out for 10,000 for a single word of mom, but when his own son called out for mom, he told him to go away. Ha ha ha. Su Liuli, although your aunt is not very tactful in her daily life, she really said something good in this matter. The matter of addressing people is something that becomes more and more natural with practice. Back in the day, when your aunt went to see your grandmother, the scene was just. Gu Xingwa laughed, and when he was halfway through his sentence, Su Liuli and Gu Feng could clearly feel a hint of murderous intent in their mother's eyes. Sure enough, the next second, she raised her foot and kicked Gu Xingwa in the back of the leg, and his originally happy face instantly turned red. Ah! It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Gu Xingwa was in pain and was hugging his legs as his wife suddenly attacked him. Seeing this scene, Gu Feng instantly felt a chill down his spine. It was true that there was a sense of warning. Mom, Liuli, you guys chat first, I'll go outside and help Grandpa cook. You guys continue. Raising his hands to indicate that his mother and daughter-in-law should continue, Gu Feng turned around and walked out of the living room without looking back. Gu Xingguo recovered from his daze, smiled awkwardly, and hurriedly followed him out. Seeing Gu Feng and Gu Zhengguo come out at the same time, Gu Jingxiang sat up from in front of the stove. Zhengguo, why are you two coming out? The meat is already in the pot, I can just watch it here alone, you two hurry back and get some rest. Dad, you go back, I'll help Grandpa cook here by myself. Gu Jingguo's smile froze on his face when he heard Gu Feng say this, and he came silently to Gu Feng's side, whispering in his ear, Good boy, is this how you treat your father? I'm going back to bother your mother, she's going to lose her temper. You want to push your father into a fire pit? I gave you money before, you little bastard, give me back my money. After saying this, his expression turned 180 degrees, and he looked happily at Su Jingxiang in front of him. Old man, let me help you start the fire. After living in a big city like the imperial capital for a long time, I still feel comfortable in the atmosphere of our village. When he arrived at the old man's side, he sat down and started the fire without being told. He watched helplessly as his father took the job that was originally his own, so Gu Feng could only follow his grandfather to the side to prepare the cold dishes. Inside the house, Song Huilan and Su Liuli, his mother, had not come out, and he did not know what the two were talking about. About an hour later, Gu Feng took the cold dishes to the table in the courtyard, and the goose that his grandfather had been stewing just came out of the pot. Gu Feng, go greet Liuli and your mother and come out to eat. Okay. Gu Feng replied, turned around and walked towards the living room, where his mother and Su Liuli were chatting happily on the two chairs. Mom, Liuli, lunch is ready, come out and eat. Okay. Liuli, let's go eat. Well. Listening to her mother-in-law, Su Liuli obediently got up and walked to the table outside together. When they arrived at the table, Gu Feng pulled out a chair and sat down next to Su Liuli. Liuli, how many times did you call me mom? 100,000 yuan for a mom, this is a good opportunity to make money. Turning to look at Su Liuli, Gu Feng said with a smile. Upon hearing this, Su Liuli's face tightened, I'm not telling you. Hee, hurry up and eat. Smiling sweetly, she picked up the chopsticks in front of her and prepared to start dinner. Grandpa, you eat the goose leg. Picking up the chopsticks, he picked up a large goose leg and put it in Su Zhenxiang's bowl. Ouch, Feng, you naughty boy, you should just eat the goose leg, Grandpa's teeth aren't good. It's okay, Grandpa, the goose is stewed to a mushy state, even if your teeth aren't good you can still eat it. It's rare that Feng is so filial. Gu Zhenghua chimed in, and Su Zhenxiang couldn't help but show a hint of relief on his face. Feng is a good boy, I like him anyway, haha. Chapter 108, Call Auntie Lin. A goose leg in exchange for the old man's praise was definitely worth it. Lunch was a happy occasion, but because they still had to return to the demon capital, after lunch the group did not linger. They drove to the village entrance, waved goodbye to Grandpa, and then Gu Feng and the others drove back to the demon capital together. Dad sat in the driver's seat and drove, while Gu Feng, Su Liuli, and Mom Song Huilan sat in the back, with the original driver following in the Maybach. Mom, what brings you and Dad to the Magic City? Nothing much, just wanted to see where you live and spend some time with Liuli. Liuli, I'll say hello to the school for you. Don't worry about your diploma, got it? She looked seriously at Su Liuli. The main reason she had come this time was to help her daughter-in-law with her school problems. Judging from the due date, she would definitely not have enough time for an internship in the second half of the semester. Thanks, Mom. I've already handed in my graduation project, so there shouldn't be any problems with the school. Okay. It's most important that you take care of your health now, and I'll take care of the rest. The two of them were busy chatting away, and Gu Feng found it quite interesting to watch them. Since they had left Happy Village, he couldn't remember how many times Su Liuli had called him Mom. It really was just like his father had said, the more he called her that, the more comfortable she became with it. In the blink of an eye, more than 2 hours had passed, and the city was drawing ever closer. Honey, where should we go first? Well, let's go to Fuxing University first. Mom, it's Sunday, what are you doing at Fuxing University? Song Huilan didn't answer right away, but Gu Zhenghua, who was sitting in the driver's seat, picked up the conversation and explained, your mom has a friend she's meeting you guys with. You have a friend at Fuxing University? It's been a while since you started going here, and he doesn't even know that his mom has a friend at Fuxing University. Of course she has a friend. Don't you know that I donated the buildings at your school? Donated the buildings? Well, I do know that. The buildings donated by the Kyushu Group all have golden donation plaques hanging in front of them, so it's hard for him not to know. According to my mother, the car drove straight into Fuxing University, and the security guard at the gate seemed to have known in advance that they were coming, as he lifted the railing early. You have to know that Fuxing University is not an ordinary school. It is impossible for cars from outside to enter without a pass. Driving on, they arrived at the administrative building in no time. I got out of the car right behind my mother. Huilan, you're here. You made me wait a long time. I was told you would be here around noon, but it's already afternoon. Lin Guifeng, the university president, politely came forward. Gu Feng and Su Liuli's eyes flashed with surprise. The friend my mother mentioned was none other than Lin Guifeng, the president of Fuxing University. I had a lunch meeting with my in-laws, which delayed me a bit. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting so long. I'll treat you to dinner tonight. Ha ha ha, that's fine, it's my honor to let the chairman of a large group like you treat me to dinner. President Lin smiled happily, exchanged a few pleasantries, and then his gaze fell on Gu Xinghua. Mr. Gu, you're here too. Even though she is the president of Fuxing University, she still had to respectfully address Gu Xinghua as Mr. Gu when she saw him. Well, Principal Lin, it's been a long time. I came with the children. The children. Gu Xinghua mentioned the children, and Lin Guifeng noticed Gu Feng and Su Liuli. Su student, Gu student? Why are you two here? She might not know the names of ordinary students, but she is familiar with Su Liuli and Gu Feng. Su Liuli naturally needs no introduction. As the school flower of Fuxing University, she, the principal, has more or less heard of her even if she doesn't follow current affairs. As for Gu Feng, there's no need to say much about him. They had just met in the conference room last time. The school's super club was formed because of him. Lin Guifeng, you know my two children? Lin Guifeng's initiative to call out the names of Gu Feng and Su Liuli surprised Song Huilan a little. Yes, you may not know, but Liuli is the school flower of Fuxing University. Even I, the principal, have heard of her name. Lin Guifeng smiled slightly. After being told by the principal, Su Liuli felt a little embarrassed. As for student Gu, they had just met in the conference room last time. Isn't that right? Looking over with a neutral expression, Gu Feng immediately responded, yes, Principal Lin is right, we met in the conference room. Ha ha ha. Silly child, why are you calling Principal Lin? Given the relationship between your mother and I, you should call me Auntie Lin. Liuli, you too, you can call me Auntie Lin from now on. Guifeng, at school, let the two kids call you Principal Lin, calling you Auntie Lin. If someone with an axe to grind hears it, they'll say you're abusing your position for personal gain. Abusing my position for personal gain? Huilan, I dare not say it anywhere else, but no one at Fuxing University dares say I'd abuse my position for personal gain. Have you forgotten who made Fuxing University soar to become a prestigious school in the city over the past 10 years? Lin Guifeng gave a playful smile, and Song Huilan followed suit with a wry smile and a nod. Okay, you're amazing. What do you say, let's go to your office for a while first. We can't keep standing here, can we? Look at you, I'd forgotten. Let's go to my office for a cup of tea. Lin Guifeng, Song Huilan, and Su Liuli walked in front, while Gu Feng and Gu Xinghua followed silently behind, keeping a small distance. Dad, what is the relationship between Principal Lin, oh no, it should be Auntie Lin, and my mom? Why do they seem so familiar? Of course they are familiar. They were college classmates and roommates in the same dormitory. They lived together for 4 years. How could they not be familiar? Gu Xinghua explained softly, and Gu Feng's expression was wonderful to behold. He never would have guessed that President Lin was actually his mother's classmate, and they were even roommates in college. After graduation, your mother was arranged by your grandparents to work for the Kyushu Group, and your Auntie Lin continued her postgraduate studies and entered the education sector. She even held you when you were born. The older man's words became more and more outrageous, and Gu Feng's mouth opened slightly, shocked inside. In his previous life, he had lived at Fuxing University for 4 whole years, and he didn't even know that he had been held by the university president when he was a child. Chapter 109 Gu Debai, nicknamed Gu Gooden. That's not right, Dad. You said that Auntie Lin saw me when I was born, so how come she doesn't know my name? A flash of inspiration came to him. There weren't many people with the surname Gu in the country, so in theory, Lin Guifeng should have been impressed. At that time, you weren't called Gu Feng yet, your name was changed by your mother later. I remember your grandmother gave you the name Gu Debai, nicknamed Gu Gooden. Ha 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 ha. Gu Xinghua couldn't help but laugh out loud when he mentioned these two strange names. It's true that Grandma Gu Feng's names have a bit of an international flair. Gu Debai? Gu Godan? Shoo, my mom had foresight. A shudder. Luckily, my mom changed the names. If he were really called Gu Godan, he would be furious now. The school beauty came over to confess her love, and when she asked what your name was, you said you were Gu Godan? Just thinking about it makes me feel bad. What are you two doing? Hurry up and follow. They were so caught up in their idle chatter with their father that they forgot to keep walking. Gu Feng followed Gu Jinghua around and couldn't help but quicken his pace. The family arrived at the principal's office, where they were greeted and asked to sit down. Lin Guifeng took the kettle and brewed a pot of tea, pouring it into the cups one by one. Huilan, you never come to me without a reason. You suddenly contacted me this time, is there something going on? If there is, just say it. I still owe you a few huge favors, and I have to find a way to repay you. Lin Guifeng said with a smile as she passed the cups to each person in turn. Back then, when she had just taken over Fuxing University, the school's infrastructure was poor, and the employment rate was low. Thanks to Song Huilan, she was able to provide jobs, donate teaching equipment to the school, and even donate several buildings later. To her, this was a huge favor. You really do understand me. Song Huilan lifted the teacup in front of her, took a sip, and then looked at Su Luli beside her. I came here this time because of Luli. She isn't feeling well, and she may not be able to do her internship as scheduled in the second semester. Please do something about the credits, so that it won't affect the child's graduation certificate. Without directly mentioning that Su Luli was pregnant, in her opinion, it wasn't the right time to tell Lin Guifeng yet. I see. Lin Guifeng paused for a moment, took her water glass and sat down on one side. According to the school's rules and regulations, internships will be arranged after the autumn recruitment, and using an internship certificate will increase the number of credits. If she cannot do an internship next semester, I can try to find a way to let Lioli accumulate enough credits this semester. If it were anyone else, there might not be a good way, but Su Lioli is different. Apart from her good looks, she is naturally very talented. She has hosted many school activities before, so getting some credits will definitely not be a problem. Fine, you arrange it. But this child is relatively weak, so you can't arrange any activities that are particularly tiring. Don't worry, I promise it won't be tiring. Lin Guifeng gave her word of assurance, and Song Huilan was slightly relieved. They sat in the office and chatted for a long time, until 5 p.m., when Song Huilan got up and prepared to take a few people out to dinner. Today is Sunday, and there is nothing to do, so Lin Guifeng packed a few things and followed the few people out. A restaurant had been booked early in the morning, and the driver drove the group to the Bund in the city of Shanghai. The car was parked in front of a very luxurious star-rated hotel. As Gu Feng and the others got out of the car, several waiters at the entrance quickly came up to greet them. Hello, welcome to the Bund Business Hotel. The four of them stood in a row and bowed to greet Gu Feng and the others. After all, it was a top-class hotel, and the service was really impeccable. The people were so enthusiastic, and Gu Feng and Su Lioli were still a little uncomfortable. Gu Feng and Su Lioli were a little taken aback as they were led into the hotel by the waiter. The interior was resplendent with gold and silver decorations. If it weren't for the tables in the lobby, no one would have guessed that this was where they would be eating. Welcome, madam. Do you have a reservation? Yes. My surname is Song. Private room 101. Very good, madam. Please wait a moment. Song Huiran reported the room number, and the staff at the front desk hurriedly checked it, and after confirming that the woman who had made a reservation for room 101 was indeed surnamed Song, they immediately told the waiter to take the group upstairs. They followed the waiter and got into the elevator. Isn't room 101 on the first floor? Hello sir, it's like this, the private rooms starting with 101 are all located on the top floor, and they are high-end private rooms. The view is very beautiful. Gu Feng muttered in confusion, and the waiter standing in front of him immediately explained with a smile. The hotel has 33 floors in total. When they arrived at the private room on the top floor, Su Lily's face was blank with shock, and Gu Feng was also a little surprised. The hotel they visited during the last team building was already quite luxurious, but compared to this place, it was like night and day. Entering the private room, the huge floor-to-ceiling windows in the distance almost overlooked the entire Bund. The tables and chairs inside were all made of solid wood, the floor was covered with carpet, and not far away there was even a stage dedicated to performing music. As for the size of the private room, needless to say. Huilan, I know you have money, but you don't need to be this luxurious, do you? This is the first time I've been to such a luxurious place in my whole life. Lin Guifeng looked around in amazement. She was the president of a top university in Shanghai, and her status was naturally needless to say, but she had never been to such a luxurious place before. Judging from the decorations and the environment, a casual meal would cost tens of thousands of dollars. Since I've gone to so much trouble to treat you to dinner, it should be a bit more formal. Just relax and enjoy your meal, you don't have to pay. Waiter, bring the menu. She motioned for the waiter to bring the menu, and each of the 5 people held a menu in their hands. Su Lioli, just order whatever you want to eat. Oh. She nodded slightly in agreement, but looking at the prices of the dishes on the menu, she really didn't dare to order. Any dish costs thousands of dollars, which is beyond her understanding. After a few minutes, the food was ordered and served. Lin Guifeng and Song Huilan chatted, while Gu Feng and Su Lioli, including Gu Jinghua, listened silently to their conversation. During this time, the waiter came over and asked if they wanted to play music. Thinking that her daughter-in-law was a student at the Conservatory of Music, after asking Su Luli's permission, she specially asked for a guzheng to be brought over. She got up and played the guzheng, and the melodious sound of the instrument echoed in the private room. The sound of the instrument filled the room, and together with Su Luli's stunning appearance, it was full of a celestial atmosphere. Huilan, you've really found a gem this time. There's no doubt about it, Lioli is beautiful and talented. She's much better than you and I were when we were younger. Lin Guifeng was full of praise, and Song Huilan's mouth curled up slightly, her happiness evident. That's natural, my daughter is absolutely first class. Finding a daughter-in-law like Lioli, I, as the mother-in-law, can smile in my dreams, ha ha ha. Complimenting Su Lioli is even more pleasing than complimenting herself. After a guzheng piece was played, Gu Feng was still left wanting more, and the sound of the music seemed to still be echoing in his ears. Putting aside everything else, the ancient ancestors' things are really amazing. A guzheng piece can make people immersed in it and unable to extricate themselves, and even have a sense of being there in the scene. Chapter 110, Are you trying to make me mad? After returning to the table, they sat down and continued chatting for more than an hour. Huilan, I have to go. Tomorrow is Monday, and I have a few meetings, so I have to go back early to prepare. It's almost 8 o'clock, and dinner took a long time, so I really should go. Okay, I'll walk you out. No, you guys just sit. What are you and I still being polite for? I'm leaving, Gu Feng, Luli, bye. Mr. Gu, I'll go first. Song Huilan, who was about to stand up, was held down in her chair. Lin Guifeng greeted Gu Feng and the others, then turned and left. After Lin Guifeng had walked out of the door to the private room, Song Huilan got up and came to Gu Feng's side. Mom, what are you doing? Go, sit over there. She was sitting in her chair, but her mother made her go over to the side. Gu Feng, I need to tell you something. We are currently facing a problem, and your grandmother is still in the dark. When are you going to tell her? Gu Jinghua sat in a chair and looked meaningfully at Gu Feng. The old lady only knew that her grandson had a girlfriend, but she didn't know that the future granddaughter-in-law was pregnant, let alone that the two were about to get engaged. At the moment, how to tell her had become the biggest problem. Dad, you're asking me, and I don't know what to do. You don't know? You're the one who got into this mess, and you don't know what to do. Well, maybe I should go back there again this Saturday or Sunday and take the initiative to confess to her? He really couldn't think of anything better than to confess. Gu Jinghua nodded after a moment's thought. Be careful when you bring it up. You can ask around. But one thing, don't tell your mother and me. You know how Granny is. If she finds out we've been keeping secrets from her, she'll cane me with her walking stick. Song Huilan, as a daughter-in-law, is fine, but his son is in trouble. He has been beaten up a lot since he was young. Now at this age, if he really gets beaten up in front of his son and daughter-in-law, he will lose all face. I know, I promise not to tell on you too. Xiaofeng, let's leave this matter alone for now, let's talk about your request for money. You really are a crafty little fellow. Not only are you asking me for money, you're also asking your father for money. What's most infuriating is that you even took the card I gave to Lioli for your own. Song Huilan's eyes narrowed slightly as she looked at Gu Feng with a cold face. Feeling her mother's gaze, Gu Feng suddenly felt a thud in his heart. His mother had found out about the money he had asked for from both sides. Cough cough, Mom, I only used Lioli's card for a bit, I didn't mean to keep it for myself. Good, so it was you who swiped it. With a cold face, she got up. When Gu Jingguo reminded her, she didn't believe it, but she never imagined that the person who really swiped the card last time was actually Gu Feng. She had been made to feel happy for nothing. Ha! It wasn't you, Mom, you tricked me. Humph, brat, I'm going to teach you a good lesson today. She picked up the chopsticks in front of her, charged at Gu Feng menacingly, and when she saw her mother pounce, Gu Feng hurriedly got up. If not now, when? Lioli, help me. He went around the table and ran straight behind Su Lioli. Mom, I was the one who gave my card to him last time, so don't be angry. Su Lioli's face was tense as she tried to explain. The daughter-in-law took Gu Feng behind her, and when she saw Su Lioli, Song Huilan's anger instantly subsided by half. Phew! Since Lioli is begging for you, I'll let you off the hook today. If you dare to do it again next time, I'll have to beat you up. With the crisis over, Gu Feng couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. If he had known this would happen, he would have rather gone back and retrieved the card last time. Fortunately, he returned the card, or else he would really have been in trouble. Ha ha ha, you brat. You even lied to your own father. He raised his hand and pointed at Gu Feng with a smile. Compared to Song Huilan, Gu Jingguo acted quite calmly. Alright, it's getting late, let's go back and rest. Huilan, I'll go settle the bill, you take the two kids and go sit in the car outside. Standing up, he followed the waiter to the front desk to settle the bill. Song Huilan and the other two returned to the car and waited. After Gu Jingguo came out, everyone returned together towards the villa. When they returned to the villa, the hall was dark and empty. Lioli, are you afraid to live here alone? How about if I find some aunties to take care of you? Song Huilan smiled slightly and turned her head to look over, being held by Su Lioli's arm. The villa was quite nice, but it seemed a bit empty for just the two of them. Mom, no, I'm not afraid. Being afraid is one thing, being taken care of is another. With your current health, you need someone to take care of you. If you don't want me to find someone to take care of you, then I'll just have to come here and take care of you myself. When she said this, Su Lioli didn't react much, but Gu Feng couldn't hold back anymore. No. Mom, you'd better find someone else. If you let your own mother come here to take care of you, I'm afraid you'll get beaten 3 times a day. What? You don't want your mother to come here? Well, it's not that I don't want to, but mainly because you can't do anything, so if you come here, Lioli and I will still have to take care of you. She said this without a care in the world, but her mother's eyes had already turned cold. Gu Feng, are you trying to make me angry to death? If you don't want to come yourself, that's fine, but saying that she can't do anything, in front of your daughter-in-law, she doesn't care about her face. Ha ha ha, okay. You two don't argue. It's getting late, let's go back and rest. Gu Feng, Su Lioli, you two also get some rest early. Let's go. He came to Song Huilan's side, took her hand and walked towards the bedroom on the 2nd floor. Su Lioli saw this and stuck out her tongue at Gu Feng, also walking towards the bedroom. Early the next morning, Gu Jingguo and Song Huilan left. Gu Feng and Su Lioli returned to school together to attend classes. Not long after the first class started, they suddenly received a text message from Director Gao. The general meaning was that there would be an event at 2 p.m. on the playground, and he had to attend. Gu Feng, who sent the message? Zhang Yu sat next to him and glanced at the teacher lecturing from the podium, before lowering her head and asking. Director Gao. Director Gao? Did you say that you were speaking at the opening ceremony this afternoon? I see that there is a place for you in the VIP section. Chapter 111, the director invited everyone to dinner. How did you know there was a place for me? Where did you see it? Following Jiang Yu, Gu Feng leaned his face sideways and asked curiously as he quietly rested his head on the desk. Shit, how did I know? Did you forget that we are also a member of the psychology club and we are also participating in the 2 p.m. event? Jiang Yu said this, and he reacted. What do you think? Are you going at 2 p.m.? In my opinion, since your name is on the list, you'd better go, otherwise our instructor won't be able to explain to Director Gao. If things go wrong, the director might even give our instructor a hard time. Jiang Yu muttered to herself, unaware that the old professor on the podium was already frowning and looking at the back of the classroom. Xiao Kai saw this and hurriedly patted Jiang Yu on the arm. Classmate, what were you muttering about? Who are you going to give a hard time? If you don't pay attention in class, I'll give you a little shoe to wear, okay? The sudden voice gave Jiang Yu a start. What's your name? He raised his hand and pushed his reading glasses on his nose. The old professor put down the chalk in his hand and looked at Jiang Yu and Gu Feng with a serious expression. This. Professor Lu, I was wrong. He was full of embarrassment, hesitated for a long time before finally rising in fear. He spoke very quietly, but the old professor had surprisingly good hearing despite his age. Not only did he hear him speak, he could even hear the specific content of the speech. Now you know you were wrong? Professor, I have always been reasonable. Since you know you were wrong, I don't want to punish you. Let me ask you, what was the main content of this lesson? If you can answer that, this matter will be forgotten. Ha! Raising his hand and scratching his head, Jiang Yu looked sadly at Xiao Kai and Zhang Tiniu beside him. He had listened to some of the previous content, but in the back he was too busy daydreaming to hear anything. Jiang Yu stood far away, scratching his head, and the professor's face turned slightly cold. You don't know? Classmate, what's your name? Professor, my name is Jiang Yu. Jiang Yu? You're gentle like jade, that's a good name for you. I've remembered your name, and I'll call on you every time we have class. If you're not here even once, you can forget about passing the final exam. Sit down. After saying this, he gestured for Jiang Yu to sit down again, picked up the chalk and continued with the lecture. Jiang Yu sat down again, and Gu Feng's face was taut with a smile, while Xiao Kai and Zhang Tiniu next to Jiang Yu had similar expressions. As for Jiang Yu herself, she felt even worse than if she had eaten a fly. She would be called on every time we had class in the future, which was just too sad. Jiang Yu, congratulations. He muttered quietly, and the next second quickly looked away to the distant podium. With Jiang Yu's example, they were afraid to provoke the eccentric Professor Lu again. After the morning class, before Gu Feng and the others could leave the classroom, Director Gao and the instructor Lu Bo had already arrived at the classroom door waiting. Jiang Yu, let's go. What do you want to eat for lunch? You're so listless, are you not in the mood to eat? Ha 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 ha. Kai, you're laughing at me. Alas, the fear of fame is like the fear of a strong pig. I've really had it this time. But then again, Gu Feng, you still haven't told me if you're going to the afternoon activity or not. After Jiang Yu finished speaking, the few of them were just about to walk out of the classroom when they didn't expect the instructor to suddenly pop out of the doorway. Gu Feng. Jiang Yu, Xiao Kai, Tainyo, you're here too. After speaking to Gu Feng, the instructor looked at Jiang Yu and Zhang Tiniu. Instructor, do you need me for something? Yes, little brother Gu, I'm looking for you. Behind Lu Bo, Director Gao suddenly appeared, putting one hand on his round belly and smiling happily at Gu Feng. Just from this smile, it seemed to Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai that there was a hint of flattery. Little brother Gu? Gu Feng, what's going on? Director Gao called you brother? Zhang Tiniu's eyes were full of disbelief, and on the other side, Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai also had almost the same expression. They even thought for a moment if they had heard it wrong, that a director would call a student so affectionately. It was simply out of the ordinary. Not to mention Zhang Tiniu and the others, even Lu Bo was stunned for a moment. He only knew that Director Gao had talked to Gu Feng alone about participating in club activities, but he never knew that the two of them had reached such a level of relationship. Cough cough. It's nothing. He raised his hand and touched the tip of his nose, awkwardly responding to Zhang Tinio next to him, and then asked Director Gao, "Director, you wanted to see me about?" "Oh, it's nothing important, it's still about that afternoon's event. By the way, do you have time for lunch? I'll treat you to dinner in the cafeteria. You several classmates, come along too." Not only is he treating Gu Feng to lunch, he's also bringing along Zhang Yu and Zhang Tinio. "Me, us? Director, you're treating us to lunch? Are you serious?" Pointing at himself, Zhang Yu's heart trembled. When did he ever get to be treated to lunch by the director? Of course it's real. It's just at the school cafeteria, so it won't cost much. The school cafeteria, where it costs more than 10 yuan per person, so it won't cost much for just a few people. After all, he is the director of the school, and if he can't even afford to treat them to a meal, then he has failed miserably as a director. Great, thank you, director. The director is treating us to a meal, haha, I never dreamed it. Thank you, director. Thank you, director. Without waiting for Gu Feng to nod his assent, Xiaokai, Zhang Yu, and Zhang Tinio couldn't wait to nod their thanks. Since all three of them had agreed so readily, Gu Feng himself had no choice but to agree as well, and he could only nod his assent. Let's go to the cafeteria in the administration building. There is a special place on the third floor reserved for the school staff. I'll take you there to eat. The cafeteria in the administration building is open to students on the first and second floors. As for the third floor, there are usually not many students. The school does not prohibit students from eating there, but no one wants to go. On weekdays, it is usually where the school's old professors and leaders eat. It makes you feel uncomfortable just thinking about eating at the same table as the school leaders. The cafeteria in the administration building. I haven't been there yet. I've never been there either. After Zhang Yu muttered, Xiaokai responded, they usually eat in the canteens near here or the dormitories. There are a lot of school leaders in the administrative building, so no one would think of going to the administrative building if there are canteens nearby. Following Director Gao's footsteps, the group walked along the path to canteen number 3 near the administrative building. When they entered the canteen, there were still a few students eating on the first and second floors. When they reached the third floor, there were only 7 or 8 tables of people eating in the large canteen. Judging from their attire, they were 100% teachers at the school. Chapter 112, That's Scary. What do you guys want to eat? Gu Laudi, Teacher Lu, what are you two having? Although there weren't many people eating, there were quite a few lunch options, and there was an auntie on duty at each food counter. I'm fine, Director, what are you having? Me? A smile curled the corner of his mouth. I prefer the braised pork rice over there, it's not bad, why don't you try it today? He pointed to the braised pork rice window. He ate lighter in the morning and evening, and usually ate whatever was on offer at lunch. Okay, then braised pork rice. Gu Feng, Zhang Yu, you guys don't have any objections, do you? No problem, Director Gao, you don't even know, I love braised pork rice. It's free lunch, what are they complaining about? It's already pretty good that they get to eat braised pork rice. Gu Feng and the others nodded in agreement. Director Gao led everyone to the braised pork rice window. The auntie inside greeted Director Gao warmly, and then immediately filled a large plate with meat. Director Gao, if it's not enough, remember to come and get more anytime. There's plenty. Okay, thanks. Oh yeah, they're the same as me. Gu, I'll go find a seat over there, just bring your food over when you're done. After saying this to Gu Feng, Director Gao walked to a table in the middle of the room with his tray. Seeing the director sit down, Xiaokai silently looked at the guide beside him. Guide, from the look of it, don't you come here to eat often either? With curiosity flashing in his eyes, Lu Bo had been observing the surroundings with a curious look ever since they had started walking upstairs, almost with the same expression as them, acting like a newcomer. Well, I've never been here before. Lu Bo nodded truthfully. This place shouldn't be far from your office, why don't you come here to eat? As far as they knew, the guide had been working here for many years, and it was hard to imagine that as a member of the school staff, he had never eaten here before. I only come here to eat when I'm free. You don't want to see us teachers, and we don't want to see the school leaders. Pouting his lips, he glanced at the back of Director Gao in the distance. Lu Bo deliberately lowered his voice. It's hard to find some free time to eat, isn't it nice to find a comfortable place? Why do you have to come here to suffer? I'm not sick. While they were talking, the braised pork rice for the several of them was also finished one after the other. Perhaps because they were people brought here by Director Gao, the amount of rice the ants served was quite terrifying. It was full of meat, and if you weren't careful, it might slide to the ground. When they arrived at the table, they sat down one after the other, staring at the huge portion of braised pork rice in front of them. Jiang Yutong swallowed hard. Director, you really do have connections. I've had braised pork rice at school a few times, but I've never had this much. Gee, this isn't braised pork rice, it's clearly braised pork, there's no rice at all. Okay, hurry up and eat, you can get more if there's not enough. Gu, let me tell you about the afternoon event. There is a speech, just a few simple sentences, I'll give it to you later. Basically, you don't have to do much. After the event, we'll take a group photo and that'll be about it. Director Gao explained to Gu Feng while eating. If it were an ordinary club, like the student union, or a club organized by the students themselves, it would be fine, but the psychology club is different. There are too many people involved, and besides, he, as the director, is directly in charge of it, so it must be taken seriously. Fine, we'll do whatever the director says. If you promise something, you have to do it properly. It's a matter of principle. Besides, the director spent money on lunch today. Director Gao talked about activities while eating, while Lu Bo, Gu Feng, and Jiang Yu listened quietly. At the top of the stairs to the dining hall on the third floor, a middle-aged man in a Zhongshan suit walked slowly forward. Teacher Zhao, how's the preparation for the outstanding graduate lecture going? This is the last mobilization before the autumn recruitment, so all the work must be done properly. The person who suddenly appeared was none other than Vice President Wang from the previous recruitment seminar. After finishing his instructions to Teacher Zhao, he inadvertently glanced at the center of the dining room and saw Director Gao having dinner. Vice President Wang had no expression. However, when he saw Gu Feng sitting opposite Director Gao, his expression gradually became more expressive. Brother Gu, you even know Director Gao. He muttered to himself, and since they had met here, he definitely couldn't not go over and say hello. Principal, it looks like that's Gu Feng over there. I know, go say hello. Nodding, he put on his big leather shoes and walked with a square step to the table where Gu Feng and the others were sitting. They were having a good chat when they suddenly felt someone approaching. Director Gao and Lu Bo looked up together. When they saw Vice Principal Wang, who was beaming with a smile, they quickly put down their chopsticks. Vice Principal Wang. Vice Principal Wang, how are you? Lu Bo and Director Gao hurriedly said hello, and Jiang Yu and the others, needless to say, Vice Principal Wang, they seemed to be meeting for the first time. Even at the last freshman party, they didn't meet. Ha ha ha. Hello, I'm eating. If I had known, I would have come earlier so we could eat together. Brother Gu, Director Gao, I didn't realize you two knew each other. The previous words were quite normal, but when he heard Vice President Wang also call Gu Feng Brother Gu, Lu Bo nearly dropped his jaw on the spot. Needless to say, Jiang Yu and the others were even more speechless, their eyes wide as cow's eggs and their heads short-circuiting. Principal Wang, you know Gu? Director Gao smiled awkwardly. He didn't know what to say in such a situation. Yes, it's like this. Director Gao, I have met the principal a few times before and helped with a few small things. Gu Feng covered his forehead with one hand and spoke up before Principal Wang could. Oh, I see. What no one could have imagined was that just then, a middle-aged woman in gray professional attire appeared at the top of the stairs again. Noticing a crowd standing in the middle of the dining room, Lin Guifeng was a little curious. What were they doing standing there when they were supposed to be eating? She took 2 steps forward, and when she saw Gu Feng, she was taken aback. Gu Feng? Hearing someone call his name, Gu Feng subconsciously turned around. When he saw Lin Guifeng walking towards him, he was completely flabbergasted. Principal Lin. Principal Lin, hello, Principal. Not to mention Lu Bo and Jiang Yu, even Vice Principal Wang had to obediently greet Principal Lin Guifeng. At this moment, Lu Bo felt his legs go weak. What's the big deal, one after the other? Lu Bo, I told you, this place is definitely not to be. Hoo. My heart is pounding, man, just having lunch and I run into the vice principal, not to mention the principal. This is some luck. Chapter 113, What Did You Call Me? Jiang Yu and the others hastily got up and followed Director Gao in greeting the principal. Gu Feng stood next to the others and also naturally greeted the principal. Everyone else called her Principal Lin, and Lin Guifeng did not forget to smile and respond, but when she heard that Gu Feng had also called her principal, her expression slightly tightened. A playful smile appeared on her approachable face, and her calm eyes looked at Gu Feng. Xiao Feng, what did you call me? Principal Lin? He opened his mouth but didn't know how to respond. After a long internal struggle, and under the watchful eyes of Director Gao and Vice Principal Wang, Gu Feng whispered, Auntie Lin. Puff. Lin, Auntie Lin. Gu Feng, you're related to Principal Lin. Lu Bo's voice trembled, his mind a blank. Although Jiang Yu and the others didn't say anything, it was clear from their eyes that they were no less shocked than Lu Bo. That's right, that's a good boy. She lifted her hand and, ignoring the stunned expressions of the others around her, directly patted Gu Feng on the head. The gesture was incredibly intimate. Gu Feng himself was surprised that his aunt had been so bold as to pat him on the head, and he could only smile awkwardly in return. Okay, you guys continue eating, I won't bother you. Xiao Feng, Auntie Lin will buy you dinner sometime. She said a brief sentence to Gu Feng, and Lin Guifeng turned and left. Ahem. Well, Gu, Director Gao, you guys continue eating, I won't disturb you anymore. Gu, I still owe you a meal, I'll find an opportunity to repay you. I'll leave now, ha ha ha. Lin left, and Vice Principal Wang followed, accompanied by Zhao. Gu Feng stood at the table, as the tutors looked at him, their hearts filled with mixed emotions. In the end, Director Gao couldn't hold back any longer and cautiously said, Brother Gu, you know Vice President Wang and are related to President Lin, why didn't you say so earlier? You really scared me today. Luckily, I got along with Gu Feng before, otherwise, with his reputation, I, as a small director, wouldn't be enough. You didn't ask before, and I'm not sure if I should take the initiative to explain this kind of thing. Let's eat first, the food is getting cold. He raised his hand to indicate that the others should hurry up and sit down and eat together. He really wanted to tell him earlier. When he met Director Gao, he didn't know Vice President Wang, and he didn't know that the university president was his mother's college roommate. After having lunch in the third-floor cafeteria, there was still more than an hour until 2 o'clock. Jiang Yu, Xiao Kai, and the other two came out, and their eyes kept staring at Gu Feng next to them, as if something was deeply attracting them. Gu Feng's face was thick, but he couldn't bear it when the three of them stared at him like they were staring at a monkey. Gu Feng, do you guys have something you want to tell me? If you have something to say, just say it. I can't handle being stared at like this, I'm panicking. Gu Feng pretended to be in pain as he raised his hand to cover his chest. You're panicking? Damn it, Gu Feng, don't you have any shame? We're the ones who are panicking. What just happened? I still haven't reacted yet. It's fine that you know the director, but you even know the principal. It's fine that you know one, but you know two. Zhang Tinia puffed up his cheeks and held up 2 fingers, looking honest and sincere. Ha ha, is that really the case? Not quite. Xiao Kai patted himself on the head, we're lucky, but I saw our tutor, the old man, shaking with fear. Tut tut. My roommate not only has the school beauty as his girlfriend, but also knows the principal. It's really something to brag about. Jiang Yu smiled happily, and already began to imagine the envious looks of others when they saw him. Facing Jiang Yu's infatuated gaze, not to mention Gu Feng, even Xiao Kai and Zhang Tinio couldn't help but roll their eyes. Let this kid imagine for himself here, let's go back and rest for a while, let's go. Waving his hands, the few of them walked straight towards the dormitory, leaving Jiang Yu alone in his fantasies. Back in the dormitory, he went to lie down on the bed and took out his phone to call Su Liuli. After learning that he was going to the playground to participate in an activity in the afternoon, Su Luli expressed his desire to go with him. It was just a small activity, and since Su Luli wanted to go, he would go with him. There was nothing else to do anyway. He rested in the dormitory until 1:40 p.m. There were only 20 minutes left until 2 p.m. As he rolled over and got out of bed, he received a call from Director Gao. He went to the playground with Jiang Yu and the others. Before Gu Feng entered, he glanced over to the side and saw the elegantly dressed Su Luli walking slowly towards them. Su Lili's sudden appearance immediately dazzled Gu Feng and the others. Gu Feng in particular was so taken aback by his girlfriend's appearance that he was rendered speechless. Su Lili was wearing a hanfu, like a delicate flower, blooming with radiant beauty, enchanting the hearts of all who saw her. "What's wrong? Don't I look good?" "Jia gave it to me, and I think it looks pretty good." Her face was like a full moon, bright and full of childlike innocence. "It looks great. It's amazing." The black and red hanfu, with a high ponytail, can be described in 4 words: heroic and dashing. It already gets a lot of attention on its own, and with this outfit, it gets even more attention when walking down the street. In just a short while, all the students passing by have turned to look in this direction. "Hee, I think it looks good too." "It's getting late, don't you still have to go to the event? Let's hurry up and go in." "Jiang Yu, Xiaokai, Tainyo, hello." Before standing next to Gu Feng and preparing to enter the playground, he did not forget to greet Jiang Yu and the others. After hearing Su Lili greet them, the several of them quickly responded with a hee laugh. "Hello, Senior Su. Senior is really pretty today. If this were in ancient times, she would be the perfect female warrior." Yes. Xiaokai said, while Zhang Tainyo next to him did not know how to respond and could only nod his head in agreement. Gu Feng looked at his 3 strange roommates next to him and felt speechless. He led Su Lili and the others into the playground. Not far away, someone was already organizing everyone to gather. Due to the large number of people in the club, this activity adopted a registration system. The activity required 500 people, and the number was full in just half a day. Naturally, this included Jiang Yu, Xiaokai, and Zhang Tiniu. "Gu, this way." Standing in front of the audience, Director Gao kept silently watching the entrance to the playground. After seeing Gu Feng and Su Lili enter, he waved his hand to greet them and then got up and came down. "Brother Gu? What did Director Gao call you?" Su Lili turned her head to look at Gu Feng as she flicked her ponytail. She had just heard Director Gao call him brother. Cough, this is a long story, I'll explain it to you slowly later." Gao Director came up to them in 3 steps, muttering to Su Lili. "Brother Gu, hey, Miss Su. You're here too. That's great, I'll have someone arrange the seating right away." Chapter 114, Ordering the Wedding Attire. It was already very good that Gu Feng could come alone, and it would be perfect if Su Lili could also go up with him. "Director Gao, you don't need to have someone prepare it, I just came here to take a look." Worried about causing trouble for others, Su Lili quickly shook her head. However, despite her refusal, Director Gao had already made up his mind in his heart that she must be allowed to go up with Gu Feng. "Su, since you're already here, I have to arrange a seat for you. Don't worry, there's not much to do today, so you can just sit next to Brother Gu and relax, and watch the fun." He laughed, waved his hand to greet the members of the student union next to him, and immediately arranged a chair for Su Lili, right next to Gu Feng. Her face exuded a confident and charming aura, and Su Lili quietly looked up at Gu Feng. Her elegant temperament, coupled with the hanfu she was wearing, gave her a different kind of déjà vu, and Gu Feng himself couldn't help but want to take a second look. "Looks like I'll be accompanying you to the event." Su Lili beamed, her cheeks slightly puffed up. Reaching out, he ran his hand through Su Lili's ponytail, and Gu Feng laughed indifferently. "What's wrong? Don't want to go on stage with me?" "Sure, I don't have anything to do anyway. I'll go up with you, and I can watch the fun." The two whispered, and Director Gao glanced at the time. The event was almost ready to begin. "Gu, Su, let's go up." "Okay. Jiang Yu, you guys go over there and gather, I'll go up with Director Gao first." Before leaving, he didn't forget to say hello to Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai, and followed Director Gao's footsteps. The two of them arrived at the audience. There was a dark crowd of people below, all members of the psychology club who had signed up for the event. Gu, you'll be speaking later, just read from this. There are only 2 or 3 sentences. After sitting in front of the chair, he handed him a piece of paper with a few simple sentences on it. Okay. After scanning the content on the note, he almost completely memorized it. As the time came to 2 o'clock, the event started on time. Gu Feng, let's begin. After Director Gao finished speaking, Gu Feng raised his hand and picked up the microphone in front of him. Generally speaking, it is inevitable to feel nervous when facing so many people for the first time. However, for Gu Feng, there was not much pressure. Before his rebirth, he was at least the president of a major international group. How could he not have the courage for this? Everyone be quiet. Welcome everyone to gather here to participate in this event. On behalf of the Psychology Club and the school, I would like to thank you all for signing up. The main purpose of this event is to establish a good outlook on love for young people. The specific details of the event will be read out by Director Gao next. Gu Feng calmly finished and handed the microphone in his hand to Director Gao next to him. Ahem. Classmates, this event. Read the prepared speech in front of you, and Director Gao looked up and continued. The rewards for this event, in addition to credits, also include some other things. These include basketballs, badminton rackets, table tennis paddles, and various genuine books. The rewards for the top 10 are quite generous, including annual passes to the school gym, study machines, and a series of other things. There are quite a lot of prizes, and who can get them depends on your abilities. Do you all have any other questions? The rewards for this event are quite generous, and even for several events organized by the school, there have never been such generous rewards. Wow! Our psychology club is really a favorite son, and Director Gao has really gone all out for this. Haha, of course, after all, Director Gao manages the club himself, and with so many people, he had to go all out. Everyone was discussing the rewards for this event, and Director Gao sat next to Gu Feng, smiling awkwardly. To be honest, the rewards for this time were really a bit too generous. But there was nothing he could do about it. As the student said, the Psychology Club is a club that he directly manages, and both professionally and personally, he should get more prizes. Classmates, since no one has any questions, please participate in the activities seriously next. Just a reminder, apart from the prizes, you can also earn a lot of credits by participating in this activity. Gu, that's enough for today, you've worked hard. Su, thank you. After the activity ended, Director Gao did not forget to thank Gu Feng and Su Liuli. You're welcome, Director. If there's nothing else, we'll be going now. Sure. Take care. Take care, Su. After seeing the two leave, Director Gao turned around and returned to his administrative building. There was still a lot of work to be done, and there were many more clubs at Fuxing University than just the Psychology Club. As they walked out of the playground together, Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai and the others saw Gu Feng and Su Liuli and quickly left with tact, not even saying hello. They were afraid of disturbing the two. Where are we going next? I don't know. Gu Feng shook his head and then looked outside the school. Why don't I take you for a stroll? Sure. The next second, Su Liuli took hold of his arm, and feeling the softness on his arm, Gu Feng couldn't help but lift the corner of his mouth. They walked along the road to the school gate. Grandpa said he wanted to show us the date of our engagement, but I don't know how it's going. Why don't I take you to look at the wedding dress? It's just hanging around anyway, so why not take Su Liuli to look at the wedding dress, and pick a favorite here, so that Mom doesn't have to choose from the capital city? Great! A flash of happiness passed through her eyes, and Su Liuli was secretly excited at the thought of picking out her wedding dress. Let me see if there are any dress shops around here. She took out her phone and turned on the navigation app, looking at several shops in a row before finally setting her sights on a wedding photography studio in the city center. From what the navigation app showed, this shop was of a higher standard and also rented out wedding dresses. After confirming the location, they drove to the Maybach and parked in front of the school, so that it would be more convenient for them to travel. After driving to the city center for half an hour, the car stopped in an underground garage, and Gu Feng and Su Lili took the elevator together to the ground floor of the studio. It wasn't that they didn't want to park on the ground, it was just that there was no space on the ground. The wedding photography studio is called Millennium Wedding Photography, with a huge signboard. Even in a super first-tier city like the Devil's Metropolis, it can definitely be considered a high-end photography studio. Chapter 115, Little Dress. Let's go in. He led Su Lili into the wedding photography building, and at a glance, he saw that it was full of people. So many people? Gu Feng and Su Lili were taken aback by the sudden appearance of so many people in front of them. A wedding photography store is not a shopping mall or a restaurant, so why would there be so many people? Hello, how can I help you? Gu Feng and Su Lili had been inside for less than 2 seconds when a woman wearing a red uniform walked up to them with a smile. Wedding photography, even the staff uniforms look so festive. Hello, we would like to pick out 2 engagement outfits. Engagement outfits? The engagement outfits are on the 3rd floor, can I take you up to have a look? Great. The female staff member slightly bowed her head, and Gu Feng and Su Lili nodded in agreement. Guided by the other party, the two walked towards the elevator in the distance. There are so many people in the lobby, your business here is really good. Preparing to take the elevator to the 3rd floor, Su Lili said with a smile. The elevator doors opened, and the staff member took a step back to let Gu Feng and Su Lili go up first, and then followed them. Madam, in a few days it will be the once in 3 years lucky day, and basically all the newlyweds who are getting married recently have bumped into this day. Those guests downstairs are all here to choose wedding dresses and take wedding photos. After the staff member explained, Gu Feng and Su Lili suddenly understood. No wonder there were so many people downstairs, it turned out to be the lucky day, and everyone's wedding date had bumped into the same day. Following the staff to the 3rd floor, there were basically not many people here. In the distance, a few guests were selecting their wedding attire, while many staff members were moving clothes racks around to tidy them up. Sir, madam, I don't know how to address you two. My surname is Gu, and my wife's surname is Su. Mr. Gu, Ms. Su. What style of wedding attire do you two prefer? The staff member asked with a smile. Su Lili turned her head to look at Gu Feng. She didn't have much experience in this area and didn't know what kind of clothes to choose herself. After a moment of silence, Su Lili slowly looked up. How do people generally choose engagement clothes here? Well, men's formal clothes include suits, tuxedos, and other formal wear. As for women's engagement clothes, there are too many types, including evening dresses, Chinese-style cheongsams, Chinese-style wedding dresses, and Western-style wedding dresses. The staff member pointed to the dazzling array of hangers in the distance. Sir, madam, why don't I take you two to have a look first? We have a full range of wedding dresses on the 3rd floor, and you two can take your time to choose. It's not uncommon to not know what style of dress to choose here. All the soon-to-be married couples are facing this important event in their lives and should think about it carefully. The staff member said that they would take the two of them to have a look together, and Su Lili immediately thanked them, saying, Yes, please. Ms. Su, you're too polite. This is what we do for a living, so there's no such thing as trouble. You should be thanking us as the store owner for letting you come here to choose your wedding dress. Regardless of anything else, just from this service attitude, you definitely have received professional training. Gu Feng's eyes revealed a burst of surprise as he brought Su Lili to the racks and looked at the clothes on the surrounding racks. He looked around, and finally his gaze landed on the staff member. Hello, are these all engagement dresses? In response to Gu Feng's question, the staff member simply smiled indifferently and said, Yes, sir. These are all engagement dresses. The wedding dresses are on the 1st and 2nd floors. The 4th floor and above are all interior shooting locations. How many dresses are there here? There are more women's dresses, with a dozen major categories. As for specific styles, there are even more, and there are almost hundreds in total. Just choose a major category, and with a little alteration, it becomes a new style. It is not an exaggeration to say that there are hundreds of styles. There are more than 20 pieces of clothing hanging on just one hanger, and you have to know that the entire 3rd floor is almost filled with hangers. There are hundreds of engagement dresses, so when will you be able to choose? Sir, you don't need to worry. You and Ms. Su can start by choosing a general category, such as a princess dress, cheongsam, or a little black dress, evening dress, or wedding dress. From these general categories, you can then choose a specific style. After the woman finished speaking, before Gu Feng and Su Liuli could respond, she already pointed at the hangers in front of them. Miss Su, these are princess dresses. Princess dresses are a good choice for engagement dresses, suitable for outgoing, cute girls. All styles have this kind of hem, and the color and accessories can be chosen separately. As she listened to the staff member introduce the princess dresses in front of her, Su Luli subconsciously shook her head. Although she could be considered pretty and cute, the princess dress was still a bit too cute for her, and she couldn't contain it. She didn't usually wear princess dresses, let alone when she got engaged. Personally, I like little black dresses. Let's go take a look at them. Okay, madam, follow me this way. Su Lili said she was interested in little black dresses, and the staff member immediately took her and Gu Feng to the little black dress area without saying a word. Compared to princess dresses, little black dresses do have a little less youthful charm and a little more sense of maturity. Madam, these little black dresses are all very good. Which style do you think is better? I'll take you to the fitting room next door to try them on. Personally, I think this one is quite nice. You should try it on. The fuchsia little dress matches your temperament perfectly. He picked up a fuchsia little dress from the hanger. It was completely fuchsia in color, with lace star and diamond laces hanging from the calf area. It was intellectual and also had a touch of luxury. Lioli, I also think this dress is quite nice. Why don't you try it on? It's not bad. The dress he picked looks quite good. Yes, great. Where can I try it on? Madam, there are fitting rooms over here, and you can lock the door from the inside. Before leading Suli to the fitting room not far away, he carefully instructed her before letting her in. Okay, thanks. After receiving the clothes from the staff, Suli slowly entered the fitting room. Mr. Gu, while Miss Su is trying on clothes, how about I take you to pick out some clothes? Sure. This way please. Gu Feng followed the aisle for about 10 meters, and finally stopped in front of a clothes rack. Suits of various colors were hanging there, some relatively formal, others more casual. In addition to suits, there were also a few tuxedos, which were also very nice. Mr. Gu, please take a look at these clothes and see if you like any of them. If Miss Su chooses a little black dress, I would recommend a tuxedo or a casual suit. That way, it will match better. The woman spoke honestly, and Gu Feng stared at the hangers in front of him for a few moments, before turning his head to look around. Where are the other styles of clothes? In a word, without resolving the doubts in his heart, he instead confused the woman. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Gu, men's engagement attire has always been relatively simple, with many colors, and as for types, just what you see in front of you. Upon hearing this, Gu Feng's mouth immediately opened wide. What? That's it? Chapter 116 Purple and Red. His eyes were filled with nothing but surprise. There were hundreds of types of women's clothing, but there were only a dozen types of men's clothing. I'm sorry, sir, but we did prepare many types of men's clothing before. However, according to everyone's feedback, male customers generally do not want to spend too much time selecting clothes. In order to avoid family conflicts, we have streamlined the clothes. This is not an empty threat. There was once a couple who fought because they couldn't agree on what to wear. But don't worry, the quality and style of the clothes we have reduced are absolutely fine. After a long silence, and seeing that time was running out and Su Lili needed to get dressed, he had no choice but to take the other person's advice and choose a red casual suit. After returning to the dressing room, about 10 seconds later, a gap opened in the dressing room and a slender hand reached out from inside. Grasping the door, Su Luli was embarrassed to open the door. Usually, she also often wore a dress to perform or host on stage, but wearing such a conspicuous fuchsia dress was a first. Luli, you're done changing? You came out as soon as you were done changing, leaning against the door, embarrassed? She opened the door a crack, stuck her head out, and looked at Gu Feng with her clear, bright eyes. Her features were delicate, her face fair, and just looking at her sticking out her head, she was so perfect. I feel like it's a little loose. Slowly opening the fitting room door, Su Liuli put her hands on her chest and looked at Gu Feng with flirtatious eyes. The little dress was relatively not revealing, as it was completely wrapped around her front, only exposing her shoulders and a small bit of her back. The reason she had her hands in front of her was mainly because the small dress was slightly oversized and she couldn't hold it up. Loose? Oops, I'm sorry Ms. Su, I forgot to tell you. This dress has 2 straps at the waist that can be pulled to tighten the upper body. If it's completely loose, no one can hold it up. Hurry up and go over to Su Lily, hold the 2 straps with your hands and gently tighten them. Sure enough. The dress, which had felt loose the previous second, became incredibly tight the next, wrapping around her perfectly and making her feel even more comfortable than if she were wearing underwear. Su Luli let her hands drop down when the staff tightened the straps. Her pale shoulders looked like unpolished jade, radiating a natural beauty. Dressed in a fuchsia-colored dress, her aura was brought out to the fullest, and the staff at the bridal shop, who were also women, were transfixed at that moment. Su, Miss Su, you are beautiful. You are so elegant in this little dress. Even I, as a woman, am moved by your beauty. Standing in place, as a staff member of a wedding dress shop, she had flattered customers many times, but for some reason, in the face of such beauty as Su Liuli's, she suddenly ran out of words. It really looks good. Purple itself is noble, and when combined with red, the visual effect is truly amazing. Liuli, look at yourself in the mirror. Taking Su Liuli's hand, she led her to the mirror. Looking at herself in the mirror, Su Lili tilted her head slightly, feeling the same as Gu Feng. She was quite satisfied with the little dress herself. Madam, do you want to try something else? Different styles will have different effects when worn. Personally, I suggest that if you have time, you try on a few more pieces so that you can make a clear comparison. If it were an ordinary staff member, they would be happy for a customer to place an order directly after trying on the first piece of clothing when choosing clothes. But they can't do that here, everything must be for the customer's benefit. Well, that's good. Su Lili nodded in agreement, and was about to follow her to reselect the little dress, when she turned around and saw Gu Feng holding 2 red suits in his hands. Did you pick these suits? Looking down at the suits in her hands, Gu Feng nodded slightly. Yes, I haven't had a chance to try them on yet. You try them on first, and I'll try on the other clothes after you're done. Let's see if these 2 clothes match. It so happens that I'm wearing this little dress, and since Gu Feng has already chosen a suit, I'll just put it on and stand together to see how it looks. Feeling that Su Liuli had a lot of good points, Gu Feng took the clothes and walked towards the fitting room where Su Liuli had been. The speed at which a guy changes clothes is always a mystery, and in less than a minute, he was dressed in a suit. The moment Gu Feng pushed the door open, Su Liuli couldn't believe her eyes. This was too fast. He was wearing a red suit with a gold pattern at the collar. The red and gold combination looked great. When he came up to Su Liuli, the 2 of them stood together, immediately attracting the attention of many people around them. Wow, these 2 outfits look great. They look so good together. This girl is so pretty. They really look good. The customers who came here to choose clothes were all soon-to-be engaged couples. Upon seeing Gu Feng and Su Liuli, especially Su Liuli in a little black dress, everyone couldn't help but look over here. These 2 outfits go really well together. Sir, don't change your clothes yet, let Miss Su go try on some little black dresses. Let's see which one suits you better. Guiding Su Liuli, he selected 3 little black dresses in a row. Out of curiosity, Su Liuli also picked an additional red wedding dress. She took the clothes into the fitting room and tried them on one after the other. Several couples who were originally still selecting engagement dresses outside, holding the engagement dresses in their hands, gazed in the direction of the fitting room where Su Luli was. I still think the first fuchsia evening dress looks good. What do you think, honey? One of the girls whispered to her husband after seeing Su Luli's next few outfits. Well, I also feel that the first one is more suitable. Su Lili has outstanding looks and temperament, and looks good in anything, but if you want to say that it goes best with the red suit that Gu Feng is wearing, then it is definitely the first little fuchsia dress. Mrs. Su, Mr. Gu, personally, I think the first little dress is more suitable. What do you two think? Tell the truth and speak from the heart. After trying on several clothes in a row, Su Lily also felt more inclined towards the first one. I also prefer the first one. Chapter 117 Anti-Fraud Live Broadcast. Okay, choose the first one. We'll take this one. Please take us to the checkout. Seeing that she liked it, Su Lily was quite satisfied too, and Gu Feng immediately chose this dress and was ready to go to checkout. Sir, the clothes here can be rented. If you don't often attend dinners, I personally recommend that you rent it. Of course, the rental clothes are not the same as the sold clothes, so you can rest assured. Out of consideration for the customer, the staff volunteered to suggest renting, even though renting is far less profitable than selling. Thank you for the suggestion, but our engagement date has not yet been determined. For convenience, it is more appropriate to buy it first. Please calculate the price. Gu Feng still insisted on buying it, and the staff could not continue to suggest it when they heard this. Okay, sir, please wait here with Ms. Su, I will go to the warehouse next door to get the goods. According to the rules of the clothing store, the clothes for sale must be unopened and brand new. This sample definitely cannot be sold. If Gu Feng wants to buy it, she has to go to the warehouse to find a new one. Watching the staff leave, Su Lily took the opportunity to go to the fitting room and change her clothes while waiting for the staff to go to the warehouse to find a new one. After standing there for 5 or 6 minutes, the staff member, dressed in a festive red uniform, returned after 5 or 6 minutes. He quickly came up to Gu Feng and Su Lily, holding a brand new unopened garment in his hands. Ms. Su, this is the first garment you tried on. The marked price is 9,800 yuan. I asked for a discount at the front desk, and you only need to pay 9,000 yuan. The material of the garment itself is not particularly good, but it is not bad either. Apart from its intrinsic value, it is more of a design fee. The design fee alone for this garment is very exaggerated, and selling it for 9,000 yuan is already considered a fair price. Okay, thank you. Let's go to the front desk to settle the bill. Okay, this way please, gentlemen. Gu Feng and Su Lily walked downstairs with the dress in their hands. It was still crowded on the first floor as they made their way down from the third floor. They walked through the crowd to the front desk and opened the dress to repack it in a bag. Sir, the total is 9,000 yuan after discount. How would you like to pay? Credit card. He held up his card and handed it to the cashier, who quickly processed it on the machine. Within a minute, the receipt, invoice and card were all returned to Gu Feng. Mr. Gu, Ms. Su, this is a small gift for the both of you. We wish you a happy engagement in advance, and if you get married, you can come to our store to choose a wedding dress. As a regular customer, we will definitely apply the most suitable discount for you. Before the two left, the staff did not forget to give a gift. Thank you. While holding up his hand to receive the small gift, Gu Feng said thank you to the staff. Overall, the service at this wedding photography studio was quite excellent, and he and Su Lily didn't pick out any faults anyway. Carrying their belongings, they left the wedding photography studio and went to the underground parking lot to get in their car. They originally wanted to return to the villa, but while on the road, they suddenly received a phone call from Principal Lin, asking them to go to the office. They drove back to Fuxing University, parked the car outside the school, and Gu Feng and Su Lily walked together towards Lin Guifeng's office. President Lin, oh, no, Auntie Lin, what could she possibly want to see us about? Su Lily followed Gu Feng, her fair and pretty face with elegant and soft lines, her expression betraying confusion. Lin Guifeng didn't say much over the phone, just asking the two of them to hurry up and come to the office. To be more precise, she wanted her to come to the office, and only after hearing over the phone that she was with Gu Feng did she ask them both to come together. Thinking about it, Gu Feng couldn't figure out what Lin Guifeng wanted either. In theory, as the president of Fuxing University, she has a busy schedule every day, so how would she have time to meet with them? After walking along the school path for 10 minutes, the two arrived at the administrative building. They took Su Lily upstairs and went straight to the president's office. Knock, knock, knock. They raised their hands and knocked gently on the door. A few seconds later, a clear and familiar voice came from inside the office. "Come in." With Lin Guifeng's permission, Gu Feng pushed the door open and led Su Luli into the office. "Auntie Lin, you wanted to see us?" Hearing the voice, Lin Guifeng put down the signature pen in her hand and looked up. When she saw Gu Feng and Su Luli, a smile appeared on her face. She closed the file and subconsciously got up and came to the two of them. "Xiao Feng, Luli, you're here. Come, sit over here." Taking care of the two of them, she sat them down in front of the sofa, and Lin Guifeng didn't forget to turn around and get 2 glasses of water. "Here, drink some water first." In fact, Auntie Lin mainly wanted to chat with Lioli. "The school plans to organize a live broadcast of anti-fraud propaganda, and would like you to be the ambassador for anti-fraud propaganda, Lioli, would you like to? The credits for this event are very high." Having hosted some events before, and having promised Song Huilan to help Su Lioli earn enough credits as soon as possible, the first person she thought of when planning this event was Su Lioli. After Lin Guifeng finished speaking, Su Lioli didn't even think about it, and simply nodded and said yes. "But what exactly do you need me to do?" She is more experienced in hosting activities, but this anti-fraud campaign will be conducted in the form of a live broadcast, which she has never done before. "We all need a script. You can follow the process on the script to popularize anti-fraud knowledge among the students, and share some real cases. It's very simple. The live broadcast will start at 8 o'clock every day, lasting for 1 hour, for about a week." "Okay. Auntie Lin, when does it start?" "Well, tomorrow night. I'll give you the draft for tomorrow night's broadcast first, take a look." She turned around and walked to her desk, taking out a few drafts from the drawer. "These are the drafts for the broadcast that have just been submitted. They are all cases of fraud that will be shared with you as negative examples. Take a look when you have time. The broadcast is tomorrow night at 8 p.m., so these drafts shouldn't be a problem for you." Compared to those rigorous host scripts, the live broadcast scripts are much more casual. As long as the process is roughly the same, there are no requirements at all for the rest. After receiving the script from Lin Guifeng and simply reading it a few times, Su Luli nodded and agreed. "I don't have anything else here. You two go ahead. Guifeng, Luli is such a pretty girl, you can't bully her. Your mother said for me to keep an eye on you, and if you dare to bully Luli, she told me to call her at any time." Giggling, Lin Guifeng covered her mouth with her hand as she laughed happily, and her eyes stared at Gu Feng with a meaningful expression. Before Gu Feng and Su Lioli were about to leave, Lin Guifeng suddenly said something out of the blue. Gu Feng's mouth twitched slightly upon hearing this. His own mother was really something, even asking someone to keep an eye on him. Su Lioli is his daughter-in-law, and he is at least her son. He doesn't ask for 100% fair treatment, but at least she can't be so obviously biased. Chapter 118, No More Brushing. "Ahem, Auntie Lin, I got it, thank you for reminding me." Su Lioli responded with a bitter expression, and when Lin Guifeng saw this, her beautiful eyes slightly curved. "Did you hear that? Don't bully me. Otherwise, I'll go tell on you." Her face was like a blooming peach blossom, delicate and rosy, making people want to kiss it. After Su Luli finished speaking, Lin Guifeng followed suit, laughing happily. Only Gu Feng had a strange expression on his face. After all that fuss, he was the only one who had been bullied. Without delay, after leaving the principal's office, Gu Feng and Su Luli returned to the villa. The next day, classes continued as normal. However, after the afternoon class, Su Luli did not return to the villa, but chose to return to the girls' dormitory instead. The anti-fraud broadcast was scheduled for 8 p.m. that night, and it would be more convenient to do it in the girls' dormitory. Su Lioli didn't go to the villa, and Gu Feng didn't want to stay by himself, so he simply followed her back to the school to stay. It was 7:30 p.m. in the boys' dormitory. Gu Feng leaned against the side of the bed, and next to the bed were Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai, each with a laptop open. "By the way, why hasn't this Tainyo kid come back yet? In another half hour, Miss Su will start the live broadcast, so he better not be late." This noon, through the campus broadcast in class groups, almost all students at Fuxing University received the news of the anti-scam live broadcast. If it were a normal anti-fraud broadcast, no one would be interested. But this time was different. The school beauty queen was personally conducting an anti-fraud broadcast, and the anti-fraud effect was directly maximized. The beauty queen's live broadcast was much more attractive than any other anti-fraud broadcast. Knock, knock, knock. Open the door, it's me. Xiao Kai's muttering didn't last long before a clear knock came from outside the dormitory. Opening the dormitory door, Zhang Tinyu stood at the door, panting heavily. Phew! I'm exhausted. How's it going? The live broadcast hasn't started yet, right? He almost died of exhaustion, running all the way from the girls' dormitory to catch the live broadcast. Zhang Tinyu was panting heavily, and Zhang Yu patted his shoulder with a smile, reassuring him, "Don't worry, it hasn't started yet. Sit down and rest for a while. By the way, Gu Feng, why aren't you in any hurry? Aren't you looking forward to Su Shue's live broadcast?" "Who says I'm not looking forward to it? I've got my phone ready." He waved the phone in front of Zhang Yu, his girlfriend's first anti-scam live broadcast, and he had to show his support. "TSK, TSK, TSK. I thought you weren't looking forward to it, but it turns out you've already prepared. You're so enthusiastic. Are you worried that you'll be scrubbing the washing board on your knees in the future?" Ha ha ha. With a happy joke, Zhang Yu sat down in front of the computer. 10 minutes later, it was 8 p.m. The live broadcast started. Xiao Kai muttered something, and Gu Feng opened his phone and entered the live broadcast room. Su Luli, dressed in a khaki-colored sweater, appeared on the screen. It was probably her first time broadcasting live, and she didn't have much experience. Facing the crowd opposite the broadcast room, Su Luli looked a little nervous. "Hello everyone, today is the first day of the anti-fraud broadcast." Taking a deep breath and trying to calm herself down, Su Luli began to follow the broadcast script carefully. In the live broadcast room, there were dozens of people 1 second ago, but the next second, it had directly turned into several hundred people. In the last 10 minutes or so, there were already several thousand people in the live broadcast room. And the number is still rapidly increasing. Live anti-fraud. What a good way. Who is the anchor, so beautiful? Even Su Luli doesn't know. Are you a student of Fuxing University? Cough cough cough, actually not, I'm from the neighboring Jiaotong University. Jiaotong University? Fuxing University organized an anti-fraud publicity event. What are you from Jiaotong University looking at? Hurry up and get out. Classmate, are you a senior at Fuxing University? Hey, I'm from Moda University. Moda University? You're really something, a Moda University student telling a Jiaotong University student to get out. We're all from the same root, why are you being so mean to me? You're so pretty, Miss Su. Oh no, why is the number of people increasing? Oh my, is everyone this crazy? The live broadcast room was flooded with comments, basically saying anything and everything, and people kept sending gifts like crazy. Oh my god, I can't believe it. 30,000 people online. The number of people in Su Shuejia's live broadcast room has risen to 30,000. Do we have 30,000 people at Fuxing University? Zhang Tinyu was shocked. He put his hand on his forehead. In just a short while, the number of people in the live broadcast room had increased from a few thousand to 30,000. The most frightening thing was that the number was still rising rapidly. You didn't read the comments, did you? Not only are our Fuxing University classmates watching, but students from other schools are too. I just saw that not only are there people from the neighboring Jiaotong University, the International College, and the University of Political Science and Law. It's actually Miss Su. This is just a live broadcast promoting anti-fraud, but it's become so popular. Gu Feng, everyone is frantically sending gifts, so why don't you give something symbolic? A little? Looking down at the gifts in the live broadcast room, hearts, lollipops, there was no break. As a boyfriend and fiancé, he really should show his appreciation. Picking up his phone, he said nothing and started with a carnival. Originally, he was still broadcasting in earnest, but when he saw a huge carnival appear on the screen, Su Lily's pretty face froze. She was familiar with the account that was gifting, wasn't it Gu Feng's account? Holy cow! Gu Feng, are you crazy? You really bought a carnival? Gu Feng casually bought a carnival, but it shocked Jiang Yu and the others. They had just been joking around, and didn't expect Gu Feng to actually buy gifts. Xiao Kai was right, my girlfriend is broadcasting anti-fraud, and as her boyfriend I must support her. It's no big deal to buy some gifts. After saying that generously, he casually clicked, and a few more carnivals were continuously bought. At this time, the barrage of comments had already exploded. What's going on? Who is this mysterious big shot? Holy cow, it's been 10 consecutive carnivals. Does it have to be this exciting? Which school are these people from? Can we get to know them? Su Lili rested one hand on her chin and stared silently at the pulsating carnival in the live broadcast room. She really couldn't bear to watch anymore, and finally couldn't help but remind her, no more swiping, okay? Facing Su Lili's reminder, Gu Feng held the phone and typed a word at the bottom, okay? Seeing Gu Feng's reply, Su Lili's pair of crystal clear big eyes flashed with a light smile, and then she continued to start